Welcome back, Star Wars Unlimited fans. We are here at the Portland sector, round 6. I am Jeff Creasy, and I have the pleasure of being joined by RT Chomp. How you doing, RT?
Doing well, but the pleasure is all mine. I'm very excited to be casting this right now.
Yeah, should be a good one. And if you guys don't blink or you'll miss it, we've got a real barn burner here with Kylo Datavolt versus Kira Datavolt. Blink and you'll miss it.
Absolutely. It's definitely going to be one of those. We're only going to make it to 4 or 5 resources, right? No chance of anything later?
Yeah, definitely not. But it is interesting. So this is the second time we've seen Kylo on stream, and it could not be more different of a Kylo. I think Kylo is the leader that changes the most when you switch bases. I think between how Tarkin Town and Datavolt function.
Absolutely. I mean, this is probably where most people initially leaned until the Bothans kind of unveiled to the world their monstrosity, we'll say.
Yeah, it was fun. Oh, it looks like the video quality just kicked up too. So we did restart the stream. We were hoping that might kind of give us a little bit more stable internet with the video quality. It's more of just we had a little bit of time between rounds. We thought we'd try something. And right now it looks like it just kicked in and is okay. And we see both players doing exactly what they want to do, with Kylo hitting the resupply and Kira starting with the Pershing.
You love to see that Pershing early on.
Here? Yeah.
It's a big deal in these control mirrors trying to find those card draw elements. If you played other card games and you're out there watching this, you probably heard this song and dance before. Getting those extra cards helps a lot.
Yeah. Especially
that being said, there is that card draw engine native to Kylo, and we see the early craving going out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting the control decks that don't have card draw built in versus the ones that do, because we also last round saw the Palpatine, who obviously has card draw built in. Kylo has card draw built in. Kira kind of has to do it the hard way, but getting what they want this round. But Kylo's now with a double ramp. Rebel Traitor is getting in there with the ramp.
That is extremely scary if I'm on the other side of the table. Yes, you have your card draw engine. Yes, you have access to the Kira flip. And of course, you knew Kylo himself is one of the big threats. But them jumping ahead the curve, like you called out with the Palpatine matchup last round, the ramp is a big deal when you're looking at these decks that want to go that late in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And then Rebel Traitor getting his Pershing in as well. And yeah, you see there Brian here just knowing right away, needing to hit the Pershing.
Yeah, you can't leave that guy hanging around. I mean, double draw. We were just talking about this. It's way too many cards. You're going to be able to do whatever you want, filter out all the things you don't want as resources, or pitch them to Kylo, set up a monster turn. I think the real interesting thing is going to be a few turns from now when that Kylo does hit the board and how Kira is going to react.
How safe do you be here if you're Rebel Traitor? Because obviously you want to draw a card with Pershing. Are you concerned at all about no glory on your super laser tech here? Do you just use your Pershing to kill your super laser tech, or do you make Brian do the work?
I think you want to get rid of that SLT as fast as you can. We're actually seeing that here. Yeah, I would not risk the no glory because that gets them back in the game. You hit the ramp, they didn't. Don't give them a chance.
I 100% agree, especially with the Pike Sentinel there, where the super laser tech isn't doing anything. He's not going to kill any units by himself anyway. So I agree.
It's interesting seeing the Rey there, one of those cards set to Rey in the Kylo player's hand, and it's coming on the board now. It was something that people just kind of ignored for a long time, but Kylo fittingly is bringing it back into prominence.
Yeah, it's a good unit. Its stats are good. Its abilities good. The problem with Rey is there's just usually something else that does a similar thing better.
I think you're right.
In the Kylo Tarkin Town deck, we were looking at Rey for a while too, but the only spot for Rey in that list was in the Lom Pike spot, and Lom Pike does amazing.
Not over that.
Rey is good. Lom Pike is amazing. So we could not, in good conscience, make that swap. But I think in the Kylo Green, it has a little bit more prominence. And either way, I mean, anytime you can fit it into a villain deck, it's just, the shields are nice. She can heal herself. 7 health is huge.
Yeah, you can do a lot of cute things with her. I mean, I personally lean to Kylo ECL. Shout out to Ralph from Blues Effect. Ooh, Agent Callus hitting the board here as well. But in the ECL version, she can do additional cute things. But yeah, I could definitely see why it didn't quite make the cut in the red version.
Yeah, and it's interesting that this whole matchup has a really interesting mini game too of when does anyone flip their leader, right? Because you don't want to flip Kira until after Kylo flips, because Kylo's going to have 1,000,000 health. But you also don't want to flip Kylo until Kira flips, so you end up with this just standoff where everyone's just pointing their guns at each other.
It's a big game of chicken.
OP is huge.
That's a big barrage. That I've heard some things about this card. I don't know how great it is, but it seems okay.
I would consider myself sufficiently whelmed by it.
Sufficiently whelmed. I think that's an accurate assessment.
The sufficiently whelmed barrage.
So I would say that pulling that fell out of there is kind of a big deal, though. There's only so many of those to go around.
Yeah, and one little known flavor text of Overwhelming Barrage turns Rey into a dragon to allow her to get felled.
It's that you got to go to the official card reference to get the additional game text.
Yeah, it's in the footnotes. Yeah. Yeah. Rey the dragon. And Callus is still here too, and it was really interesting to see the Callus come down a few turns ago, and it's like, well, the Callus can't do anything now, but it was hiding behind a Sentinel. Rey couldn't kill it that cleanly. And Kira just knows, eventually I'm going to kill that Rey and draw a card. And the Callus is still good if they try to drop, more Pershings or any other little guys you wanna clean up. So it's really interesting here. Callus has kind of came back into prominence with all of the unique 2/4 Force units, but it's still just a solid card in a lot of matchups.
It's funny how long it took to catch on. Early in set 1 and set 2, I mean, I feel like it was set 3 Wu kind of popularized. I could be wrong on that, but it did not feel like it was super popular for a very long time. And now, exactly as you're saying, it's making its presence felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very meta dependent card. So when Rey Datavolt came around and you're like, hey, you're playing R2D2 on turn 7 as Rey a lot of the time, something like that. Hey, it's a 1/4 I can ambush. And then, Rey Datavolt was just, 1/4, 2/4 tribal. They've got Admiral Akbars, all these dirtily units with high health that Callus still kills. It all just depends on how Callus lines up into the meta. And with both Rey Datavolt and with Legends of the Force coming out, it lined up really well.
So I think the last turn was kind of empty and looked like an Agent Callus swing into a pass into claim. And we're getting a pitched entrenched, I believe that is.
Yeah, and it pitched entrenched. We've had a decent number of cycles. The interesting thing about this Kylo Datavolt deck is it's a Datavolt deck that usually runs about 11 upgrades or so. So they don't utilize Kylo's ability as much, but we've seen Rebel Traitor here get some decent value out of it with the Craving Power and the Entrench. So still cycling a bit, even though that's one of the less consistent things with this deck.
Right. And it looks like we're getting a timely Vader, I think, to clear out both the two options on the board, which presents a decent threat. Like, is Vader going to go the whole distance? Probably not, but it's at least something you have to respect for the rest of the game. You're going to have to deal with that thing.
Yeah, it's a nice little 2-for-1. It's really nice to get Callus off the board, just so you don't have to worry about giving Kira even more cards. Even if the unit's not that good, if they just have a Callus out and then play their Fell the Dragons, takedowns, whatever removal spells they're playing, you just don't want to give them incremental cards.
Exactly. In my experience, a lot of this is you alluded to it earlier about the game of chicken between Kira and the Kylo deploy. But even if Rebel Traitor can force the Kira deploy with something else, there still is the threat of maybe Super Laser Blast or other things. Mm-hmm. I'm curious because I have seen some spicy Kylo lists featuring some things to try and dodge that. It's like Shadowed Intentions or other kind of out there options.
Yeah, and I'm curious if those are going to be main deck or sideboard. I would imagine sideboard.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen that as well. The Shadowed Intentions is pretty interesting. Avenger coming out here. So now the pressure might be the other way, where now they're kind of saying to Rebel Traitor, now you have to flip. You have to deal with this Avenger, or the game ends pretty quick.
I mean, I'm never happy to deploy Kylo lonely onto the board. You can, of course, get back that Craving Power to snipe the Avenger, but the Agent Callus coming down both to stall for a little bit of time and hopefully provide.
And there is the fell, and that's what you want to see. Let's RT draw a card now, and because you like you said, you don't want to expose the Kylo to power the dark side if
exactly.
you can avoid it. So both players just trying to see if they can make their opponent, if they can force their opponent into a desperation move, or if everybody can just kind of keep playing it slow, playing it casual.
Right. But at this point in the event, if you're 5-0 at an event this size with the high caliber players that we've seen across the board, you have to assume that they're going to play it properly. And I think at some point, one of them is going to have to go, all right, let's see if you have it.
Yeah. We see a Vader come down here. So that is a clean answer to the Callus, plus you get an extra unit for your troubles as well.
Yeah, I can't complain too much about that one. I can't quite tell what our Kylo player has in hand at the moment, but with a lot of resources up, there's a few different things that they could be trying to do at this stage.
Yeah. And I believe that is the Sentinel that gets XP when it gets damaged.
Yep. Phase 3 Dark Trooper.
Yeah, Phase 3 Dark Trooper. That's the one.
Ooh, Anakin.
There's Anakin. That's a double Anakin because of the Rey unit. So clear the board back at you.
That's pretty clean. I mean, that's one of the exciting things about playing Rey and those heirloom sabers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kylo is one of the better decks in general to turn on Anakin, because you do, whatever color you're in, you have heroic upgrades that you can play, and then you also have the option of playing Rey unit. So it's really easy to turn on Anakin.
Exactly. So fairly late game SLT, but at worst, it's now it power the dark side magnet. Yeah,
exactly. It's power insulation. You're not, and also at this point, it's not even if Rebel Traitor has something like No Glory, you're kind of okay with that. That's wasting a premium removal spell that's stopping you from going from 10 to 11. It's like not the end of the world. Absolutely. It's really just there for power insulation, and probably going to pump 2 damage into that Pershing until it dies.
Yep. Oh no, we're going to go
base. Interesting.
The race is on.
Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Kira now has to figure out how to turn on the life puck because they have been damaged.
Shout out to Metal Fab for the life pucks. They are cool. I've seen them in, like, a few people have had them at PQs locally. I really like them.
They're really cool. I'm the same. I've seen them at PQs and stuff, and they look really cool. They have really good battery life from what I hear. So solid idea. And yeah, so Kira just flooding the board with small units is interesting.
Yeah, we got to get we've drawn officially 80,000 cards, so I am curious if either player is running main deck Vigilance. We haven't seen them up to this point, but
I think Vigilance has been kind of on the out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Ooh, we see the flip. Brian blinks first. We have a leader deploy. We are only 23 minutes into the round, and we have a leader deploy. No, we're not that far into the round, but yeah, because I mean, this is very easily answered by Kyle. We saw the craving power, so RT could just flip and kill Kira, but obviously, that is the obvious play. So this is not the scenario where you wouldn't think that either of these players are going to get baited into something like that. So it might have come down to Brian over here thinking that he's far enough behind at this point that he has to try to bait RT into a bad play.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Ooh, Relentless. Okay, that's kind of a big deal as well. But
yeah,
since the Kylo flip is still live and we know that there's a craving in there, there is a target or the ability to remove it.
Well, I don't know that he has anything else. He has an entrenched, but that's not what you want to be doing on your Kylo in this matchup.
Because I think he has the heirloom saber as well.
Does he? I didn't see the heirloom saber. Okay.
He might not have an
heirloom saber. Then he would need 9 resource, or 8 or 9. I forget if the heirloom saber is 1 or 2.
It's 2 baseline, yeah. 2? So it'll be 4 this time.
Okay, so 4 total here. So yeah, so he needs 9 resources for flip into heirloom saber into craving power to kill the Relentless.
But desperate times. I mean, I don't know how many other options you're going to have to remove that thing, and it will close the game out relatively quickly unanswered.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he can take currently 2 hits. Right, he'll be at 1 HP. So if this super laser tech gets in one more time, then yeah, and we see the flip now.
And you can't risk a shield going on there because then it will soak the craving power later on. So you have to deal with it quickly.
Yeah, you have to do it now.
That looks like a super laser blast.
Yeah, the I think the Kira flip itself was a pretty big signal that there was a super laser blast in hand.
Exactly.
But I mean, our RT got to a point where you just can't play. You can't get hit by the Relentless. You just have to play into the blast at that point.
Right. Yeah, when you're pushed up against the wall like that, you only have so many options. So now the question is, it looks like there's a walker in hand for our Kylo pilots. So will that be able to carry them? You still need to, again, insulate from Power of the Dark Side or other removal if you can.
Yeah.
But you have to stick that thing.
Yeah. The Kylo, I think the Kylo is good. They'll be able to insulate themselves. And yeah, I've been using the names casually of Brian and Rebel Traitor. But like we know, Rebel Traitor is the one on the Kylo. And if you've ever been in or seen the videos of the online league Take the Initiative, this is that Rebel Traitor, also a member of the Late Night Gaming competitive team. Good player, good commentator, good dude all around. So just making sure that's... Yeah, this is also on the Take the Initiative YouTube channel, and if you're watching us on that channel, you probably already know who this is.
They may be familiar.
Yeah, this is not his first run with Kylo. At Galactics, he played the ECL version. Is that a U-Wing reinforcements for 9?
I think that's a timely reinforcement.
Timely reinforcements. Okay, so this is to get the for 37,000 or so X-Wings, plus or minus a few.
Yeah, just a handful. I mean, that's a way to try and take over the game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is now... Rebel Traitor has basically said, okay, you played your one answer. Do you have more? You need some kind of AoE removal, whether it's Snoke, whether it's another super laser blast, whether it's something.
Yeah, if I'm sitting in Kira's shoes, but if you have the Snoke, or you have to just be windmill slamming it here, right? Is there any hesitation to not play it?
No, I think. Oh yeah, so I agree. If for anyone not familiar with the reference, I believe windmill slam comes from slam dunks in basketball, but it's been used in card games for a while, where you basically make the same motion. You take the card, 360 your arm, slam it down on the table, windmill slam. You don't need to think about what you're playing. You just slam it down on the ground. Exactly. So I agree. I don't think Brian has the Snoke or a super laser blast, because both of those would just be instant on the table. No more thought needed.
Absolutely. So we're trading out the Inferno 4, and then looks like a Palpatine's return on
Relentless. So now something like an overwhelming barrage becomes a lot better, because you have a larger unit now.
And we even get the shield, it looks like. Nope.
I'm thinking about the shield.
Yeah. Just got to double check everything. I mean, it makes sense to put the shield on there to prevent opposing barrages or whatever.
The shield, it depends on what you want to play around, because the shield means it dies to Anakin, because it only has 6 health. So that's the question. I think Brian remembered that he was playing against an Anakin deck, because it's been just muscle memory for so long to say, yeah, shield, I'm against blue-green villain, protect against the barrage. But now you've got to decide what you want to play around.
Yes.
Do you want to play around more barrages? Do you want to play around Anakin?
And it is, given that craving power is already in there, I guess there's a world where you're not running full sets of barrages / whatever, but at least 2 more Anakins are going to be in there. I highly doubt they're not on a full set of it.
I agree with the decision to not shield, because, the barrage doesn't even kill the Relentless anyway. They have to get rid of the Relentless buff so that an event can be played. Then they have to get a unit large enough to deal the damage. And we saw a devastating gunship take out one of the tokens.
Yes.
But so that leaves 7 more, looks like.
Only, it's not that many.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no big deal.
Just a couple left. There is a timely, so that is going to pop the relentless.
Right.
So timely for no effect to say I can now play events. Now you must be scared of what I can do.
I believe I saw no glory earlier. That was several turns ago, so it may not be there any longer. But
yeah,
we'll see if that's what they're trying to set up.
But yeah, interesting here. He's at another timely. So now this puts 9 more Sentinels in the way. We have run out of X-Wing tokens printed in the game, I think.
I mean, look, I played a lot of Vader. They have way more X-Wings than I've ever had TIE tokens. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, true. I've had a lot of TIE tokens out, but this is a lot more of the X-Wing tokens.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And came prepared, having all of those tokens available.
He still ran out of tokens, but I don't blame him in the slightest for it. So yeah, that does stop the devastating gunship, which would... Oh, we do see a vigilance here. So it looks like now he can shield his relentless and keep it out of Anakin range, which is really nice.
There's no glory.
Into no glory. So yeah, we already saw the relentless get the relentless effect get popped with the timely intervention. So then that into timely reinforcements into no glory. So relentless is a little bit worse when you're at 15 plus resources and 12 cards in hand.
So we are putting 4 into the devastating gunship.
Yeah, I think you have to do this.
Agreed.
Because you're at 29 damage on base, so you can't afford to take a hit from anything.
Absolutely.
But now you have to deal with this Vader as well.
Threats in both arenas, and they're all scary. You're not happy about seeing any of them.
Yeah. So now the question is, does Rebel Traitor run the Super Laser Blast to blast his own 11 tokens?
That's going to feel real bad.
It is, but I don't know if you have a choice at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're once again up against the wall, and there's not really very many ways out of this.
Yeah. And again, the bottom row of X-Wing tokens have Sentinel this phase, so the devastating gunship cannot attack base.
Right. Which is important to point out, because otherwise a lot of this doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
As expected, we're on to the next, because you got to try and... I'm assuming there is a Super Laser Blast floating around, at least as an option.
There might be. This is a Data Vault deck. Sometimes you get Data Vaulted. There could be, if there's another timely, you could timely Reinforcement Walker to buy yourself 6 health. I don't think that's going to be enough right off the bat, but it would buy you an action at least.
Right. Unfortunately, so many resources then still put you right back in the similar hole.
Exactly.
Just got to double check for that timely again, maybe?
For me personally... If I'm about to lose, I always check my resources to see if I resource something that would have helped me here so that I can call myself bad at the game.
I mean, I do that as well.
I see a blast there. Oh, he resourced. Am I crazy, or did he resource a Super Laser Blast?
I couldn't quite catch it.
I couldn't catch it fully either. He's now... diligently untapping his tokens.
The armada that is on the board right now. I mean, it is the Rebel
Trader has a 13 token Rebel fleet there, which may have to get blasted into oblivion to survive.
It does not look like there's one in hand, unless it's that second to. Oh,
yeah, there was one. It was in the middle of his hand. Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever seen someone Super Laser Blast away 13 of their own units.
You saw it here first on Late Night Gaming.
You saw it here first. Yeah. Oh, man, that was... But the funny thing was, those 13 units amounted to 2 cards, so it's not like he set himself back in terms of card advantage.
Very true. Very true.
It just looks funny.
Oh, it's absolutely hilarious. This one, this is where if I was streaming on Twitch, I'd be like, all right, chat, clip it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not
and
seeing
so
it
immediately
again.
another Vader. So now he says, hey, that was cool. Can you do that again?
So we have what, 3, 5, 7 resources it looks like available?
Somewhere in that range. It's hard to tell the exact number.
Right. I mean,
Rebel Traitor has either 6 or 7 available.
Right.
We see Vader into phase 3.
All right, so that Vader is, I mean, he would have probably demanded a single target removal anyway, but it does lock out a, like you said, the walker charging into it. Not that it kills it in one shot, but at least softens it up.
Yeah, and the tough part here is I don't think Rebel Traitor can play the walker or play a timely into the walker right now. And if he claims, then Brian can add more to the board to make that not enough next turn.
Makes it very awkward.
Looks like there's a no glory, so he could no glory the Vader. Yeah, because he's technically not dead to one attack from the trooper.
Right.
So I like this. That was a solid play. And now if Brian plays anything else, then you claim. And if you don't have the timely, you hope to draw it to timely in that reinforcement walker. Heal 6 and kill the phase 3.
And to your point earlier, we can't quite tell exactly how many resources are available for Brian over here, our Kira player, and that. Oh, it's Callus. I was going to say you don't want to see something showing up in the other arena, but we're staying ground for now.
Looks like he has 3 or 4 left, I think. Yeah, and Rebel Traitor does claim here because the Callus does represent lethal. So
exactly
makes sense. Oh, the shield here is huge because that means that you can no longer kill the phase 3 even with the timely walker.
Right.
Anakin would be Anakin would give him a turn, but he still has to deal with something because he has to kill the Callus or heal. And if he kills the Callus with an Anakin, then he's still dead to the Dark Trooper in 2 attacks.
If he has a timely, the Anakin can get him out of it because he should be able to stack the.
He can stack the wind blades. He could also choose to leave the Callus alive as a 1/1 and kill the Dark Trooper. Looks like he doesn't have the Anakin. So yeah, going to game 2 here. Really tricky spots there, but I do think that this Kira deck is generally speaking a little bit better suited to these end games than the Kylo.
I was going to ask you exactly that. Chat was pointing out earlier, or at least some parts of chat were pointing out they felt Kira was favored into this. I was going to ask your opinion on it, but
yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's the way that I think about this Kylo deck is it's kind of like an amalgamation of like it's a deck that does cool things with Kylo. It has some filtering, it has some removal, and it kind of backs into being a control deck where you're like, well, I guess I'm blue-green villain. I can play these ships. I can play Super Laser Blast. Whereas Kira is a deck that is designed to be blue-green villain, if that makes any sense, where it's designed to say, okay, I am going to draw cards and ramp and remove and get to this top end. My leader flip doesn't matter except that it's going to kill all your stuff. I'm going to Super Laser Blast. You have to have an answer for every Avenger. Like, this deck was designed to do things like this. And Kylo is kind of a little bit of a different beast, where it's a deck that does really cool, interesting, and unique things, and then it kind of has this light control package stapled onto it.
Right. I think there's a element of not quite all your eggs in one basket when it comes to this version of Kylo, but it's more eggs than you would like into something like Kira. Like
yeah, definitely.
Whether it's the Kira flip or any given single target or Super Laser Blast is on screen. There's a lot of ways to trivialize what Kylo's trying to do. Yeah. And then exactly what you said, there's all of the things that you're doing to make Kylo work are eating up deck slots that could just be removal or whatever else is necessary in the Kira list.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Craving Power do some good things, but it's not at the same power level as some of the cards that Kira have been running for it. And the same thing we saw in Entrenched get discarded. The Heirloom Lightsaber, they're good to turn on Anakin, but if you're just looking for a 60 card deck of powerful cards, the individual card quality is going to be a little bit lower on average with Kylo, because they're relying on the deck velocity to see more of your deck and to deal with it that way.
For sure. And we saw both players look like they boarded in a fair number of things, and I imagine similar to what Tower Number 9 and Tata were discussing for the last matchup, where it was Rey versus Palpatine. We're going to see, hey, board in more threats, board in maybe more Palpatine's returns, that sort of thing, to create more density for the obvious late game that's coming.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We saw the Relentless main deck from Kira. I could see Relentless being post board from Kylo. I could see more of them being in the sideboard for Kira. Things like that. Both players taking a mulligan. Both players, of course, on Data Vault, so they get to blame the shuffler for the deck construction of potential bad luck.
I think I played a Data Vault deck in exactly one event, and never again. I have famously played the Bothan version of Vader and ended up with as many 0 turn 1 play hands as rounds. And I am not going to risk it with Data Vault with the variants do not like me.
I'm the exact same way. I tell people they told me to play Data Vault decks, and I say my luck is so bad. I was on a stream top 8 game in a PQ with Vader with no turn 1 play against a Sabine either hand.
Yikes! I know that feeling.
All right.
I know that feeling. It does not feel good.
Oh goodness. Okay, we see the RT showing us his hand. We do see the Pershing there. It's a good hand.
Was that? It looked like Barrage got resourced.
Yeah, okay. I think so. It's less critical to the matchup, especially in the early game, and you can't afford to hold it late game versus holding units. And we saw him keep the Rey, keep the Pershing to draw more cards. So it kind of feels bad to resource 2 barrages, but also in a deck where you're running 3 Craving Power, you kind of have that effect already in your deck more.
Other than the Kira flip turn, it's probably going to be a 1-for-1 in a lot of cases. We did see it get a multi-kill last game, but
that's more the exception than the rule for it killing a lot of units. So this isn't the best matchup for it. It's just you don't want to board it out, but you'll resource it turn 1 for sure.
So we do get the ramp once again. That was a resupply popping out there real quick. We kind of emphasized it in game 1, or at least I know I was harping on it, and it didn't seem to make as much of a difference as I might have thought.
Yeah, well, but the thing was that nothing got done with the ramp. It wasn't ramp into an early Relentless, ramp into an early flip Avenger, any of those things. It was ramp into wait for 10 turns to see who blinks first.
Exactly.
So it depends on the follow-up, and that's another reason why ramp is really good in Kylo against certain matchups, and I don't think Kira is really one of them. When you ramp as Kylo Green against the Kylo Tarkin Town, it feels amazing. It's one of the main ways that you win the game in that matchup.
I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, but in a matchup like this, it's just much less important to get to those big numbers first, because you're trying to be more reactionary anyway.
Speaking of big numbers, both players are more than willing to go to Resource Infinite, as we're seeing Night Sister Warrior poke away, but that is just past claim.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 15 turn clock, so we got to be careful here.
Look, you got to do something, or otherwise I'm gonna get you. And I do sympathize not wanting to no glory that Night Sister, because that's horrendous. That feels terrible.
Yeah, and it's interesting here. A lot of this, he does no glory the Night Sister to draw a card.
Not like this.
Nailed it.
I mean,
RT drew the card. RT drew a card. Yeah, yeah. So the RT gets the card off the no glory from the Night Sisters. Over the potentially 5-power shielded spaceship. Showing the real priorities in this matchup.
It's true. That is, of all the plays that can be made, that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, I like it.
It's just, you clearly want to do something else, ideally, I would think, but I guess you can't take 2 forever.
Well, also, if it's interesting too, because in this exact situation, a card like Vigilance would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really where you want to be in this matchup. This isn't the control mirror where you're going to mill people out. You know, I mean, we're both on Data Vault decks, but yeah. So that explains he has the Fell the Dragon, so he has the removal for the gunship anyway.
Right.
So I assumed that was the reason for the no glories. He's basically saying, I'm going to take 5 here to get to draw a card instead of 2 from the Night Sister Warrior.
Yeah. So Vader is the follow up here.
And any of these 2 unit cards are really good because right now RT is just doing the 1-for-1 removal with no units out. So now if he's sitting here staring down something like a Power of the Dark Side, it feels real bad.
Like a second Fell?
Yeah.
Clear the Vader.
Second Dragon down, and now you're kind of okay with taking 2 for a little bit if you need to. It's not the end of the world. Right. It is nice to get your Power of the Dark Side turned on and to make Brian at least have to think about it.
So we're delaying the leader flips once again, which is not really surprising, and both based on the first game and just in general. That's kind of where both decks are going to be.
I think Brian's main goal right here. And we see this from him playing out actual units and making Rebel Traitor answer them. Brian's goal here is to play enough units that Rebel Traitor feels pressured to flip or to spend something big. And we see Admiral Piet, which is terrifying. So all of his big units get ambushed until they get overwhelmed by Maul.
Yeah, until Maul comes in and snaps him in half.
Yeah. I really like the pressure that Brian is putting on here. I think a lot of people in control mirrors, they don't value the life total pressure as highly as they should. That's really what forces your opponent to act. And you say, oh, you know, why would so-and-so flip into an open power or do this? Well, because their opponent pressured them and forced them to. They said, you lose the game unless you do this. Like, he just forced Rebel Traitor to flip with no upgrades. Oof. Because he says, I'm gonna die to this Maul if I don't.
There is still the option. We got the Kira shield in order to protect Maul, because presumably they were anticipating either the barrage or, because of course, Brian isn't aware of the barrage is going away, either that or craving power out of hand. Yeah,
and there's a Devastator in hand. So I think RT here is basically trying to survive until he gets to this Devastator. The shield was really huge, though, because now Kylo can't kill the Maul, and Maul still kills the Kylo. So he needs something here first action.
Do we have...
Okay, got a timely. If we can see a timely Vader, that's going to be huge. Timely Vader kills Maul.
Yeah, it looks like a Vader to me.
Yeah, so you just put the second shield on the Maul, ambush into the Maul, kill it with the on attack. So Vader should still have a shield here because it kills the Maul with the on attack.
That is correct.
So now you've got I can't tell if it still has a shield, but you've got a hypothetically shielded Vader and a blank Kylo, and Brian is gonna try to get the damage in space.
It looked like a Star Destroyer came down.
Yeah, I believe there's a Relentless. Yeah, so he has a Relentless and Inferno 4 now. So we're at a nominal resource count where Relentless is still pretty good and probably blocking your standard Super Laser Blast plays. We've also already seen 2 Fell the Dragons from Rebel Traitor. So we do see okay, so there's the Devastator coming down. So his plan worked out. And into the Super Laser Blast from Kira. And Kira still hasn't flipped. But so you drew out 1 Super Laser Blast. Now we see Kira getting in for 4.
But now we're looking at it's 20 damage, I think, exactly. So
yeah, still 13 more to go. So not super close. As
you were saying, like, the pressure is on, and it's now there's one more thing. The Kylo flip is out of there, so Kira, a little less value on that front, but
yeah. But the nice thing about the pressure here is that, you know, if Rebel Traitor plays something like a Devastator or Relentless, Brian can afford to get hit by it a couple of times. RT right now doesn't have the same luxury. So he sees here with a Timely Reinforcement Walker, so this is going to be huge. He can either draw cards or heal. So yeah, this is really going to help, I think, get him back into this and force Brian to have something else big. And he draws both the cards, which I don't
feel like
hate.
I would have done the same, which maybe is. I assume that anytime I say I would have done that play, it was probably the wrong one. But
well, see, for me, it's not a snap decision either way. I think if you look and you see, a resupply, super laser tech, something like that, you'll heal. But if you see any even slightly impactful card, you'll just draw it, especially if it's any removal spell.
Right.
Yeah, Avenger coming out immediately, but you didn't have a choice but to play into that.
100%. Now, the first hand that Rebel Trader had access to before the mulligan, there were multiple Devastators, I believe. So I expect there's more coming back. And of course, Palpatine's return is an option.
Yep.
A few different ways, even without Fel, to try and deal with this thing.
Yeah. And we still haven't seen any Power of the Dark Sides yet from either player, actually.
Right.
Avenger, your Avenger. Classic. I remember that one.
Devastator, your Avenger.
Devastator, your Avenger that avengered my Avenger. And they say good metas never die. This is just reminding me of the set 1 days.
It's true. It is a pretty good throwback. Now, the shield going down on Devastator, so still 8 health remaining, notably outside the range of that Anakin that you were referencing in game 1.
That's
nothing on the ground to ambush
Vader. Of a decision to do here. Oh, is that the...
That might be a power.
Might be a power. Yeah, power. So we see the first power come out. And it's really interesting about that flurry, too. Usually, both players will try really hard to insulate themselves from the Avengers and the powers, but neither was able to because of they started the battle at lower resource levels this game. They didn't wait to get to 15 or whatever to start playing things. Brian was pushing the tempo and playing cards earlier, so it's letting everything be a 1-for-1 a little bit better than it was in game 1.
Right. So we're going to cycle here to try and dig out some more stuff. Also putting the action back to Brian, see where we're going.
And putting a hero card in the discard. So now Anakin is live for -6.
Yep. And speaking of Power of the Dark Side installation, we have plenty of idiots floating around on the ground now.
Yeah, now we see the Anakin, but the Anakin is not power protected right now. But it's of that middling power level where it's not the Maul is really good there. No overwhelm damage, but Maul doesn't die back.
Right. And a second Anakin could matter, but like if you have to play a power, play another no glory, something like that, it didn't matter that he has 1 health. He could have 1,000,000 health. It's going to die.
Yeah, exactly. You don't play the Death Trooper type of cards that'll take advantage of the low health unit. We haven't seen any vigilances. Doesn't mean he's not playing them. He has about a quarter of his deck in his hand, so we imagine he has some answer. There's a Palp's return.
Devastator?
I would imagine you just get the Devastator here, or Avenger. Okay, I like Avenger too.
Yeah, you're not at a break point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got 5 damage, so it doesn't particularly matter.
Yeah.
But we're going to get rid of the Avenger anyway.
Yeah. Looks like another Piet.
And another
immediately killing it. Yeah, another Vader coming to kill the Piet.
That classic scene from the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Vader coming in and brutalizing Admiral Piet, right? Yeah, it did. Well, Mahdi and Ozzel, but yeah, it is funny. Some of my locals love either recreating scenes from the movies or making up new scenes from the movies via the gameplay.
Nice, yeah. I think this is interesting. Yeah, Piet's always been a character with such a strong ability stapled to such a terrible body that he never lives, but if he ever does, you just win.
Start the turn with Admiral Piet unit in play. It gets very scary very fast.
Yeah.
But as it is, no Piet. We have Vader and a shielded Phase 3 Dark Trooper.
Yeah. And that was a super laser blast, so those are gone. Now we're back to needing more Needing more 2-for-1s here.
There's a seemingly endless supply of dorks coming out of Brian, out of the Kira deck.
There are. I'm curious how many cards are in his hand. I don't think it's as high as Rebel Traders because RT's had like Pershings and things like that, and Brian hasn't drawn as many cards. But they spent most of the beginning of the game not playing any cards.
Right.
So that gives them both a decent amount. I'm just not. We see RT's hand, and he has a lot of cards. He has a full grip over there. Here's a Palps return on Relentless.
Yes. 2 resources up, so not a ton of ways to answer it this turn. And by a ton, like, what, entrenched?
Yeah. We see that might be a 3rd Admiral Piet. I can't tell what
it might be a Pershing, because he has that, like, the red light in his art.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we assume that he can kill a Relentless this turn, but he's still taking 8 first. So now he's at 28, and most threats are lethal. Any Darth Vader unit, Maul unit, all of those are lethal. So timely to pop the Relentless. So now events are live for Rebel Trader. Relentless obviously nullifies the first event played, so that timely reinforcements did nothing except popped the Relentless shield. Now we see Pershing to fight the Pershing. Palps return. So you can't get the Avenger here. I would imagine he might just get the Devastator.
Yeah, that seems like the most likely thing.
If he has enough resources for it, which I believe he does, yeah.
He's even got 2 to spare. He's got resources for days.
And now he has the power protection as well with his own Pershing, so an Avenger doesn't do it from Brian. Power of the Dark Side doesn't do it.
Still a million resources, but as you pointed out earlier, we're not sure exactly how many cards are in Brian's hand here. Presumably not too many at this stage, but it's
enough to kill the Devastator. So there's a no glory on the Devastator.
If I'm sitting in Rebel Trader's spot, I'm just like, please just take a turn off. Let me get this walker online. Give me just 1 turn of breathing room, and I think it's possible to try and turn this around. But
interesting to claim there instead of drawing a card with Pershing.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
But I mean, he could have he played around Maul slightly better because he would have taken 1 more damage if he'd had put a damage on his Pershing. Fair I don't know that matters, but he did. Yeah, we will let you know when Kira's life total becomes relevant. At the moment, it is not.
Yeah, it even the life puck is all right. I'm gonna get a sandwich. You guys, let me know.
Control mirrors, including the life puck. No, this has actually been an interesting gameplay, in my opinion. But yeah. So now we're back where we were before. There is power protection. There is a shielded unit with 4 health left that needs to die in 1 action. Anakin does it. A no glory. Okay, he has the no glory. No glory does it. Timely reinforcement walker gives him another action. But yeah, he just has the no glory there. So now I feel like we're at the point of the game where Brian is just gonna play out everything he has 1 thing at a time and just say you have to answer everything 1 for 1.
Absolutely.
And see how long RT can do it for.
Like I was saying before, if you can't get that walker online to try and shed some of that damage, it's just it's exactly what you're saying. You're just up against it. You can't get out from behind the 8 ball.
We see another Palps return here. This is an interesting decision. Yeah, I like this. Devastator killed the Pershing to stop the card draw. You will need to answer this space unit if your Devastator dies, which it likely will.
Yep.
And it does. But I still think that you have to turn off the card draw more than you need to. Like you need to assume that Brian doesn't have much because you can't afford to play around much.
Right.
Okay, and for everyone watching, when you see the standings scrolling across the top of your screen, those are the active standings for this event after round 5. So going into the round that we're in now, those are the standings. So just FYI for anyone watching those. See, there's a Craving Power, not as useful with no units on the board. Jedi Lightsaber, and that goes back to the Kylo deck and the single card quality on average, where there's a lot of these cards that are very synergistic and powerful with the deck, but when you have one action to get an answer, they don't help as much.
Yeah. Oh, Snoke does some things. We got the awesome Galactic Snoke too.
Yeah.
Awesome Galactic Snoke is his name.
Victor and chat heading out. Have a good night, Victor. See you on commentary tomorrow. Everybody go subscribe to the Nordic Takedown podcast. True. Europeans have a different definition of early versus late. They're wild.
It's true.
Yeah. He got the Snoke, which wasn't immediately removed, and then got the Reinforcement Walker down to heal 3.
This is what we've been waiting for this whole time, to get this game swung the other way.
Yeah, I would imagine we're gonna get a response here. I think that is a no glory, so he's deciding which unit to get.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really interesting sequencing too, because if you no glory the Snoke, then your first ship hits for 3 instead of 1. But I think Brian wasn't expecting the Reinforcement Walker heal, and he said, hey, if I attack for this 1, then my Inferno 4 is going to be lethal through the Snoke. But the fact that he healed for 3 meant that it wasn't. And now I think RT's looking for things like more, Devastators, more...
Is that like the 35th Devastator? Like... the Palpatine's return.
I think it's the 4th, because we've had 2 Palps returned, and 2 played from hand. Or 1. This is the second one played from hand, and we've had 2. So I think it's the 4th Devastator.
That sounds right.
I could be missing one.
That's wild.
Yeah, devastating.
One would go so far as to say it's devastating. Another Relentless.
Very relentless.
I mean, it's very fitting if they keep coming out.
Yeah.
They don't quit. But it is an active walker and an Anakin to clear out the ties.
Oh, the Anakin is nice. It stops the little chip damage in, and also means that this Relentless doesn't have a good attack onto the Devastator. And you would assume that if Brian could kill the Devastator, he just already would have.
I think that would be a safe bet. Plenty of Power of the Dark Side protection. We're going to need targeted removal or Super Laser Blast to try and clear this out.
Yeah.
I have to imagine this gets milled, but...
Milled another Anakin out. So down to 27. So still dead to 1 Relentless attack. That Relentless is currently being blocked by a Devastator. So Brian needs single target removal, and even if he finds it, the next Reinforcement Walker attack will mean that the Relentless isn't lethal by itself. Yeah, I agree with Blue Jay in chat. We're getting to very, very large resource count levels that are, ridiculous things that you don't happen in most Star Wars Unlimited games. Are things turning around for RT? I mean, if this Devastator doesn't get removed,
1621 on board. That is an accurate statement.
Damage on base now. Kira's life counter is awake now. We're not done yet, says Kylo.
Not like this.
So yeah, the Devastating Gunship can kill the Devastator now, or you could potentially play a second one. Yeah, so there is the Relentless for Rebel Traitor now. And he's at the point where the Relentless attack, or the Relentless attack is not going to be lethal once the Reinforcement Walker heals 3 more.
$27.
Yeah, he's 1 short on board right now, so he would need Craving Power.
I think that's a Craving Power in hand.
Yeah, so that's game 2.
Wow.
He takes it. He wins game 2 as time expires in the round.
Oh no. It's crushing. That was a really good game.
I think it's control player brutality for Brian, where you just want to, for Brian, you just want to say that you made it to time and get the 1-0. You're just trying to hang on for that game 2. And the worst part about this is a lot of times, even in big events, if you get to time and there's clearly someone heavily winning in game 3, sometimes your opponent, the person who's losing, might concede. There's no way you can do that here. You're literally going. Yeah. You just don't get to even start the game 3. So from that aspect, it feels kind of bad. But draws aren't the end of the world here. You do need to get to a certain number of wins to get to day 2. But since the records carry over, a draw is definitely much better than a loss in this scenario. So not the end of the world.
Absolutely, players aren't eliminated at this stage.
That was a very good comeback from Rebel Traitor. Brian did a good job putting on the pressure, and then Rebel Traitor was able to turn the corner. And I think what we saw there was a big difference in the card advantage. Every time we saw Rebel Traitor's hand, he had 8+ cards in it. Brian had all the answers for the first 30 minutes of that game 2, and then it got to a point where he just didn't anymore. And I think it came down to he didn't draw as many cards. He didn't see as much of his deck as Rebel Traitor did in that game 2.
That is an enormous amount of cards we're sideboarding.
Yeah.
In. I didn't realize there's quite that many. Yeah, but you're absolutely right that the card draw made a big difference in that game, which I mean, we started out with this, but that's kind of how control mirrors happen in every game.
One interesting thing about putting all your control cards in the sideboard as a control deck is it means you're kind of giving up game 1. And as we saw here, you don't always have time to get to a game 3. So it's an interesting choice. But yeah, I think we definitely saw there that Kira was more geared to beating the mirror in game 1. Yeah. So we will be taking a short break, and we will be back in just a few minutes with round 7. I am Jeff Creasy here with RT Chomp signing out for the round. Thanks for hanging out. Welcome back, Star Wars Unlimited fans. We are here for round 7 of Swiss. I am Jeff Creasy with the Bothan Network, and I am super excited to be here with Tivy of the baddest team in Australia. How you doing, Tivy?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited. I don't even know. What time is it for you guys right now?
It's 20 past 11 in the morning here, so
okay.
Sunday morning.
You're coming on for a solid morning shift here.
That's it. Covering the day over here.
That's exciting, yeah. And we've got the only mono Han in the field, and Curtis Sorensen, really good player from Utah. I've hung out with him, played against him a few times. Really cool dude. Has always been on mono Han. This was he brought this deck to Galactics. He's been playing this deck ever since DJ came out, even after it was banned. So this deck just is his baby. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do with it here.
Yeah, I was really excited to see the matchup, and yeah, it's interesting to see obviously post DJ. Still a good deck. I feel like DJ just made it really good into the control matchup as much as it did into the aggro matchup, so it was kind of really well. Now it feels a bit more fair.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last round was a draw. For those wondering in chat, they basically, as time hit, they ended game 2, so it was a 1-1 draw. I doubt we're going to see that here, though, where we see Han 2 Blue coming up against Mono Yellow Han 1. And another thing, for people wondering what kind of list Curtis is running, another thing that he is known for is running kind of abnormal lists. I don't know his current list, but I know he likes to put his own spin on things. I wouldn't be surprised to see. I know at Galactics, I think he was playing things like the It's Worse cards, playing a lot of smaller ambush guys, and just kind of putting his whole different spin on Han 1. We see immediately going for the C3PO on turn 1, as our video quality thankfully cuts in at just the right time. And we see the
Grogu goes down for the Han 2.
Yeah.
Who do
you
you like in this match?
I don't know who to like in this match, because I don't know what the heck Curtis is going to do. What I was going to ask you, Tivy, is what do you think about Han 2 Blue post Force Throw ban?
I think it's still a very strong deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's still got lots of tools. We're still seeing it, in a lot of events. Still topping. Yeah. Like Force Throw obviously gave it some pretty unfair options, I think is the safest, nicer way to say it. But it's still cheating out units. Bringing things out earlier is always going to be good. You still got the Kiadimundi draws earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Red Blue Heroic, it's a good shell. It's got lots of options.
Yeah, definitely. And when we see all the options here, where you can Grogu heal, you can try to kill the 3PO, you can try to kill the Falcon. So there's a lot of options here for the Han 2 player. He does go for the Falcon. This is Pilot Falcon, so the 2 damage could be mitigated by Curtis starting off with the Pilot here. Could be Han Pilot. There are a lot of options for solid pilots here. He does have initiative.
Keeps it threatened though. He does need to make a decision now, because otherwise, if he does anything else, that Grogu can heal the Itinerant Warrior and just clear that off the board.
Yeah, definitely. Normally you'd want to start with the C3PO, and he does go with the Boshek first. Oof. Gets 2 odd cards, where that is a spaceship and I think a pilot. I couldn't tell exactly what they were.
I think it was the Han pilot. I think it was the promo version of the Han pilot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really bad at recognizing promo versions of cards. Not gonna lie.
I think what we're already seeing here with the Han 1 double yellow. I played a little bit of it back in the earlier sets, and it always felt a bit weak with not a lot of card draw.
Yeah,
you always found your hand quite small. You're relying on a lot of smuggle rather.
Mm-hmm.
But Boshek right there, putting some cards in hand with the Han 1, C3PO, giving the option if you've got a lot of 3 costs, which I imagine they run.
Oh, and then we see the Poe for 4 as well.
Oof. See, that's a big threat on board.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It goes back to what you were saying about forcing Curtis to make decisions. So we know that Curtis is going to be on a pilot deck, and you might say to yourself, man, why would you Grogu put 2 on the Falcon? He's just gonna be fine and put a pilot on it. But we see here he had to play the pilot first action, which means he didn't get to attack with a C-3PO. So he didn't get to draw the card with C-3PO. I had to choose between, do I want to potentially draw cards with Boshek or potentially draw a card with C-3PO. So it's really, really good pressure there by Dylan forcing Curtis to make decisions.
Absolutely. You find if you're not a very aggro deck, this Han deck can put you on the back foot. And Grogu coming out on that turn, moving the damage around, like we just saw him move it off the Poe. Like now we've got a full health Poe cheated out a turn earlier. Huge swings can happen because of those moves.
Yeah, and the Poe can now threaten to kill Han without dying back. He could also just attack the Poe into base, kill the Boshek, which kills the Falcon, and not worry about his Poe dying to the to the Han flip. So a lot of options here for Dylan.
Very commanding board presence. They've both got units, but I think Dylan's in a pretty nice spot right now. Not a lot of damage on base, some big units. I
don't think he has a ton of cards in hand, so that could be one limiting factor with the Poe. Is you obviously want to try to discard a card to kill the Boshek, potentially, or he might not even discard and just say I'm going to use the Grogu to kill the Falcon. He does discard. Okay, I like this better. It taxes your hand a lot, but you don't want to lose your opportunity to kill the Falcon if he plays a second pilot on it.
Yeah, that becomes a very big space threat
from the Boshek earlier.
Which I think it feels like we might see that go on to that hauler, but with Poe out, if you don't have an answer to that Poe, you're just going to lose that Han pilot again.
Oh, this is a nice spark. Kiadi and Luke and Entrenched. Ooh, Curtis doesn't want to see any of those cards. He's going to need 2 more sparks. He takes the
Alex to get rid of the Entrenched. That's interesting.
I don't hate it. I think it was between the Entrenched and the Kiadi, but the problem is that the Kiadi, what you wouldn't want him to draw into is something like an Entrenched. Like I think Curtis's way to win here is to get a pilot and to try to race. Obviously the pilot can get killed by the Poe, but then the Poe is not dealing 2 more damage to your base. And you're already taxing the cards in hand for Dylan. So you're basically just using that Han pilot as a mini surprise strike if you want to spend the 2 resources for it. So let's see here, because he could activate and flip Han here, but that's again taxing the cards in his hand. Looks like that is what he's going to go for. He could activate, flip, and then have 5 resources to play his Han pilot on the ground.
Yeah, he really needs to address that Poe, because it kind of limits his options with his pilots.
Do you think it's worth it for something like a hotshot blaster to suicide the Han into the Poe?
I think so. It's a little bit too big of a threat, but I mean the board presence that Dylan's built here now. Now he's just moved 2 damage onto him. It's probably going to be worth the trade, I think, here. Yeah, Han hasn't flipped yet, so still a lot of things are going to happen on this turn.
Tapping 4, so not the... This is the cunning. Okay. I wouldn't hate seeing... Well, the random discard is a little bit worse because Kiadi just drew 2.
Yeah, I think the Poe gets bounced.
Well, he could also buff the Han and attack into the Poe. It looks like there was a random discard, which was a turret, and I think he buffed the hauler.
Okay.
I saw him kind of point to it. So yeah, it looks like he buffed the...
Oh, he's pointing
at the pointed to Han, so I'm not sure who he buffed. Okay, he buffed Han. Okay.
Yep.
So I think he is probably going to run this Han into the Poe. Seems like. Or into base. Okay, so he thinks he's winning this race. I don't know if he's right yet, but we will see.
The haul is going to hit for 4 and put him to 18. he still has that Han pilot in hand, so that would next turn put him to 24. Math works.
And Dylan
sometimes.
can't kill Han on board right now without something else.
Mm.
He could kill him first action next turn, but he can't kill him right now.
And if he runs Han into it, he's going to die with that +4 still being in from cunning.
Exactly.
So I think we're going to see 3 to base here. Yep.
So this is interesting here, where now I think he's claiming so that he gets in his Han attack, because now he can attack with Han for 4 to get him to 18, and then he could hauler plus Poe pilot for 2 more. If he has something like a surprise strike, that would be huge here. If he could surprise strike the Han leader and then Han pilot onto the hauler.
Yeah,
or
and
Blaster looks like what we're coming to.
And the Han 2 blue,
Han.
not a lot of. Oh, he's destroyed it, has he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. The Han 2 blue doesn't have a lot of answers in space.
Yeah. So I think Surprise Strike plus Han Pilot is lethal unless I counted wrong.
No, I think
that
right.
would really explain why Curtis just claimed there.
Oh.
So yeah. Or no, he needs double Surprise Strike.
Yep.
Yeah, so he needs second. Han Pilot is still 1 short. He needs a second Surprise Strike here.
He must have it, because otherwise getting rid of that hot shot doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I think that's why he...
There.
Yeah, and there it is.
Yep.
So that was... Oh, I think that the...
Well, he's put him. He's really put him in check here.
Yeah, he put the Han Pilot in the discard, and I thought he put another Surprise Strike in
the Poe discard.
Oh, it was his last card in hand was the Han Pilot, I think. And okay, yeah. So Poe attack, discarded 2 cards to deal 2 to base and to make Curtis discard.
And Dylan is showing lethal, so I think we've seen the scoop here. So he got close.
Really close game there. That was a really that was one where I want to watch back that end sequence there to see how those last 2 turns could have played out.
Because I can't tell if we saw a discarded hotshot blaster that got done with the Han ability. So because I thought we would have saw hotshot with the Han, puts him to 6, gets him the resource, and then a surprise strike with the space.
Well, that would have been 1 short of lethal was the problem. He needed double surprise strike to get exact lethal. And then, okay, this is Only Hans. We are here. Subscribe to the Only Hans for the best Han mirrors that you have ever seen. Subscribe at the trash compactor tier to get dance like this. And now we're back to
this is the content we all come here for.
Only Hans action. Thank you, Loopy, for injecting the Only Hans into our lives.
We're all better for that. Like, I think we all feel a lot better about ourselves. The palette was nicely cleansed with that. I'm loving it. So moving into game 2.
And Cynical asking questions in chat. That's what I was trying to figure out too, because it looked like Curtis discarded 2 cards. I wasn't really sure what happened there.
I'm wondering if maybe one of the resource defeats didn't happen, or prompting.
It might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been that he used the surprise strike and then discarded the Han leader. But I'm not 100% sure exactly what happened at the end of that game, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, we saw the surprise strike move into the discard pile.
I think he only had the 1 surprise strike. So he moved the surprise strike into the discard pile because he played it, and then he discarded his last card in hand, which was Han Pilot. I think that's what happened. But either way, whatever happened, we're on to game 2 now with Dylan having won game 1.
So, do we know what's in the sideboard? Because I know there was one interesting mention, because I'm curious what Curtis is likely to side in for this matchup.
Yeah, we don't know the full list. And I'm not sure. So the thing about mono yellow is it has a million options, right? Like he could be some yellow decks in general don't play Waylay main and play it in the side. He could be he could have Bodhi Rook main deck versus. There are so many options with mono yellow. And Curtis specifically likes to kind of metagame a bit and play the way that he wants to play, but with respect to like understanding what he thinks the meta is going to be. So I wouldn't. There were a lot of things that wouldn't surprise me to come out here.
So Blue Jay in chat saying that he went back and watched the replay and that he did discard 2.
That might have been the case. If so, that's unfortunate. But I don't think there's anything we can do about it at this point.
I mean, we're in round 7. These guys are getting long in the day.
It's been a long day.
You'd be cooked, right? Like
I have been. Yes, I've been there.
We had the Canberra PQ recently, and it was only 6 rounds. And I don't tend to play in many of the events. I'm usually the one judging them. And I remember playing in the 6 rounds. I was fried at the end.
Yeah.
I was very, very happy to. We were at an RSL, a bowling club, as they call them over here. So there was a bar upstairs. Was very happy to go into happy hour and have a beer and relax at the end of it.
Nice.
And I mean, yeah, it's a good point because each player is responsible for their board state, making sure all the correct actions happen.
When you get to somewhere like top 8, there's going to be a judge watching every match, but you don't get that in Swiss. You just can't. It's not feasible. You can't. So the players kind of have to self monitor, but they'll be walking around, but it's going to be kind of hard to catch stuff like that.
Absolutely. There'll be a lot of tables, even with the amount of judges at this event. So.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a good reminder for everyone. You know, you got to manage your own board state. Keep an eye on everything that you're doing.
There is the turn 1 Bodhi Rook.
You called the Bodhi
because this deck is a lot of units, and he sees all units there. But it's still good to know.
Yeah, I think Curtis is going to be able to map out what the turns are likely to look like based on that. Hoping that he has an answer for Poe this time around. Mm-hmm. I still think, looking back on the game, I think when he played that cunning, bouncing that Poe, it would have probably been a bit more impactful.
It could have been, yeah.
So we're seeing the race begin.
Cunning can only bounce a unit that's 4 or less power, so it can't bounce a Poe.
Yep, that's right. Hall is back out.
Yeah, Haller put in good work last game. It was just short, but it's still a tougher card for this Han 2 deck to deal with.
Especially if he gets a pilot on it, and if if Curtis can have an answer to the Poe to keep that pilot alive, it's got the opportunity to just push a lot of damage. And on that 28 health base, it's not too far off 30, but sometimes it's just enough off 30.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just far enough.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm interested because we know that there was a Kiadi, but there's also, you've just got to get this Poe out, right? Yeah.
Yep. Ooh. 2 haulers, though.
Yeah. We've got quite the race on our hands here.
They are.
They were hauling so fast it broke the video for a second.
Yeah. In Inferno 5, one of Baddist's very own in the chat, calling out the Han sleeves from Curtis. They do look awesome.
Yeah.
Were they some Worlds event, Galactics event ones?
I'm not. I don't recall seeing those at Galactics. I'm not sure where they're from.
Can see the little logo in the top left.
It might be from this event potentially. I think they're from here, from this Portland sector.
And Curtis has just gone in on them.
Yeah.
Worth it with the Han deck for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's a lot of damage there. So, okay, interesting. So Curtis not going for the pilot, knowing that the Poe is still up. He could activate and try to flip Han, but the Poe is sitting there for that too. The Grogu's up so that to make sure the Poe doesn't die if that happens. So, ooh, we see the spark.
Ooh.
An entrenched, a Fell the Dragon, a turret, and a Yaddle. Last time
we're going to see that entrenched gone.
Yeah, the nice thing about Hauler is that it dodges Fell the Dragon. I don't think you have to worry about that at all. And I think it's between the entrenched and the turret, and I think I like taking the entrenched.
Well, now he knows not to put a pilot on the hauler.
Exactly, and he was already disincentivized from that because of the Poe anyway.
Yeah. The thing with Poe, though, he can put 8 damage onto base, which will put Curtis to 19, and that's not a great spot.
Yeah, he can.
To be on.
I like playing the turret out here because now you don't have to worry about the Han flip attack into Poe. So you can just hit Poe into base. You can just Grogu heal the turret and not have to worry about the Poe.
So moving some damage. Yeah, onto that Falcon.
Yeah, and he does flip the Han here. And Poe going to base. I think this is correct. I think once you have the turret out and this board presence, you say, I don't need to trade with you. You need to trade with me.
Yeah.
And once Han attacks into turret, he could clean it up with the itinerant warrior or with the Han leader or with whatever he wants. But he's also... I have a feeling this game might end next turn.
Yep, I think so.
He discards for 2 to base.
We've been told we do have a backup game to go to, so that's good.
Yeah. Curtis still might win. I just think it's going to end this turn. It wouldn't surprise me if he's running something like an outmaneuver to get in damage with these spaceships. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if it's in his sideboard and he boarded it in, but like that could be a card that I could see potentially turning the tide here a little bit.
Be a very, very big play. He's on 6, so we could see that with a bit of pump.
So that's making me less hopeful for his odds here. But never tell Han the odds. But I believe, 25. So he's not dead. Yeah, he doesn't have it. Okay, so Dylan takes it 2-0 over Curtis. Really cool model Han deck. They're both still live for day 2. They were both XO coming into this. Actually, they are both in day 2 already.
So you got to go 6 wins, gets you into day 2? Okay.
Top 64. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was cut to top 64 or cut to everyone 6-2 or better. I'm still not 100% sure. Either way, they both should be in day 2 anyway. Whichever way it is. Okay, so we are going to go to our backup match here. We're going to a quick cut screen while we get that set up.
Those are some beautiful prizes.
These are, so these are the prize wall cards. We've shown them a bit before, but man, this promo art is so nice.
The aggression, the cunning, and the planetary bombardment. That's very striking. I think that looks really good.
I think especially since I remember there was amount of backlash for the very first like store showdown promo cards and some of those. I think that FFG have done a really good job at getting nice promo cards now. Like when we see the aggression and the cunning and even the cards that aren't super heavily utilized, like Vernestra isn't heavily utilized, but there's a lot of power there, and it's an interesting card that you could put into certain decks, you know? So I like that both the direction they've taken with these, and I think they've gotten a lot better at picking cards that are really, really cool and interesting. Or characters that we like, too.
Absolutely, and I think that's a key thing. Like, you know, we saw some of those early promos, you're right, like, you know, is it the unrefusable offer, the gore promos, like they were, you know, they looked good, But
the art
you know,
was good, but yeah, they've gotten a lot better at getting at choosing playable cards and still doing them in what looks like a really cool style.
Yeah.
It's not. It's very distinct from. It's not going to be confused with a standard hyperspace, and it's just it's also still very legible, which I really like. Some games with their promo cards have gone more towards the realm of illegibility because they're trying to be too unique, and with these it's a combination of unique, it's legible, the art still pops out. I really like the design of these. Okay, so we're going to the other undefeated table, which is a Gar ECL versus a Yoda Jedi Temple. We're gonna update the overlays live as we transition quickly to just try to get you guys more gameplay. So the overlays are gonna be wrong at first as we get a little only Hans transition here.
Look, we wouldn't have any other way. Absolutely.
All right. So we see the Gar ECL on the left and the Yoda Jedi Temple, so Yoda green on the right. We are not sure what game this is.
I think we've just seen a Traitorous go onto the Obi.
Traitorous on Obi is really interesting because I don't know how many force units Gar has. Like, we see the Secretive Sage, but obviously that's just a shielded unit that Gar likes. But the Obi dies anyway, so it doesn't matter. Traitorous is really interesting in Gar. Like, because then you steal a unit, then it becomes upgraded, and then Gar does other things with upgrades. That's really interesting, really cool inclusion. I like that.
I think we saw the Yoda player electing to trade immediately with the Obi-Wan, and I think it's because if he did it after the Gar flip, Gar's ability would send the Traitorous back to his hand to be able to use again. Back. You definitely don't want to see that if you're dropping some little units that they can steal.
We do seem to be at a pretty high number of resources for Yoda to be only at 2 damage on base. So I think Yoda's pretty comfortable with that side of things. Power the dark side, but he already got the ramp out of it.
It doesn't look like ECL's been burned though, so if we move into a resupply.
I believe he moved into a Director Krennic with what should be 1 shield.
Definitely not 6.
But we should be at the Yoda flip turn here. But I think the question is, you probably want some Power of the Dark Side installations. Yeah, just Village Protectors. Solid card here. I still think Yoda's pretty happy with his spot right now. Oh, Krennic shuttle stealing the shield. I love that shuttle.
That's nice. You don't hate that.
Then the shuttle ST gets its own 6 shields.
So now we're seeing
Yaddle here, some
Sage.
more power insulation because the Village Protectors is about to go down anyway. So could flip Yoda here. Could activate first to set up the flip.
Well, I think Gar's going to run into that Yaddle.
Yeah,
which threatens the power again if he does flip the Yoda. And the thing with the Yoda flip here, looking at that board, you're definitely going to get rid of either the Krennic or the Sage. But
yeah, and
is that worth it?
I think Trevor's play made a lot of sense. He threw out his units knowing they were going to die because he had a second Yaddle and he can still be power insulated. I think you definitely do it in this case because you kill the shielded unit, one of them, and then Yoda works on cleaning up the ground. So he does get to... So the Shuttle ST does have a win played and win defeated. So he gets... I believe he moved the shield over to Gar that was on the Secretive Sage. Because you can do that when the shuttle is defeated as well as when it's played.
Not the Sage, because the Sage traded into the Village Protectors. It might have been the Krennic one.
The Sage got a shield back from when the shuttle got played. And so
he ran
the
that
Sage
one...
stole the shield when it got played from the Village Protectors, and then when it died, he gave that shield over to Gar. So I believe, you can see it. It's kind of hard to tell because of how shiny the showcase is, but there's a little button over Gar's text box in the red, so Gar does have a shield right now with the 5 damage on him. And then we get the Timely Vader. So it still has
Timely
ECL
Vader.
up. So yeah, Timely is into the Yaddle and kills the Yoda. So Yoda no longer likes his spot, I think.
Yeah, that's a big turn.
Yoda liked his spot until everything he had died. And then he no longer likes his spot.
And a rival's fall to get rid of the Gar. It's a lot of resources. Still a lot on board for
It's
Gar.
not bad, but yeah, you've still got... Oh, Spark of Hope isn't bad to ramp. We've got to see if they've got the payoffs for these ramps. I can't tell if Yoda has the... Yeah, Yoda definitely has the Force. So
I can
Yoda
see a Traitorous in
is
hand
live.
for the Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting we're seeing a lot more Traitorous come back.
It is interesting. I still feel like there's a decent amount of upgrade hate out in the world, but maybe less than I'm thinking. And we do see the Traitorous here. And I'm curious if this Yoda is going to be on... Okay, so Gar is up 1-0, we found out. So Yoda is fighting for his life in Game 2. We see Gotcha. So the Gar player was in a PQ final last weekend with Gar in Portland. And I'm curious if the Yoda player is running villainy cards, if they're going to be on the Power of the Dark Side into Anakin type shenanigans. But
Timely reinforcements.
Timely
That's
means that Power of the Dark Side is no longer good.
And all that...
I'm really interested that this card is in the Gar ECL deck. Because it's
all the ramp coming up against Yoda now because he's got all these resources. He's going to make all these X-Wings.
Yeah.
He might be using the dice to show that he's got
there are
5
X-Wings there. So he has slightly fewer X-Wing tokens than Rebel Traitor did. With having 13 in play and 11 actual tokens to use. You got to at least try a little bit, Carson. Come on, man.
We want to see some of them on board.
So yeah, this is another interesting... Because the Vader isn't a non-zero threat, and neither is 10 power in space.
I mean, he's presenting lethal here, so he has to have some answers.
Yeah.
There's 10 from the X-Wings and 5. That's maths. I can definitely
Just the X-Wings is lethal. So even if you kill the Vader, you've got to also kill one of the X-Wings. I mean, there are a lot of options in this deck. If they had a Nebula Ignition, I would imagine they sided it out against Gar. Even though it would be good right here. That's not enough. So that stops the Vader, but it doesn't heal any right now, and it doesn't stop the X-Wing tokens from attacking base.
Oh,
Craving power anyway to kill the Obi-Wan. So saying now you've got to have 2 more things. I'm not sure that I liked the Craving power there. I think you just start attacking with the X-Wings because you just turned the Yoda on to give Trevor another look. But I'm not even sure what he could have. A blue leader to kill one of the tokens.
One of them.
And he gets to restore 1 with the home 1, but he should...
Still lethal, though, with the
yeah, because he's got the 7 from Vader.
Mm. You're right, though. It's interesting. I think it might have been a bit safer. Obviously, he gave him the option to Yoda again, and he maybe drew the blue leader. But if he just started swinging with the X-Wings, the Yoda's kind of forced to just sit there.
Yeah. So there are 2 undefeateds left with 1 round of Swiss left today. All 4 of the players that we've seen today are through to day 2, but the records don't reset. So they're still trying to get to that top 8. So yeah, congrats to Carson Caruso on a 2-0 victory in round 7, taking him up to 7-0. Trevor still at a very respectable 6-1.
And how many rounds do we have tomorrow in Swiss?
That is a great question, but I should know the answer to. I believe the answer is 4.
The answer is indeed 4, and this is Loopy at Late Night Gaming. We're going to switch here to do some analysis, so let's drop down these prizes for a little bit. This is the first time we've gotten a significant break with both of our matches, I think today. actually, that we've had
Yeah.
some time. So,
Very quick games.
what do you guys think of those last two matches?
I wish I could have seen more of what Yoda was trying to do. I liked Yoda, both the leader and the top end green hero of Legends of the Force, a lot when it was spoiled. But I think Gar did a good job of just not letting him get there and get a foothold in. And I mean, I think that's kind of what Gar wants to do, right? Is just not let you execute your game plan and just be really annoying with things. But well, I'm sure we'll get to see more of that Yoda. And then, yeah,
I
think
definitely would have
all
liked
those
to have seen
games-
more from the first game. That Han 2 yellow, Han 1 double yellow. I think interesting to see more of what it could do. It looked like it could go quite fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was a similar thing with both of them, right? Where the Han Yellow as well with Curtis, it would be. I feel like we didn't get to see what his deck wants to do that well because the Han 2 Blue did just enough disruption. The Poe threatening just enough speed and disruption to stop Curtis from doing his game plan.
Yeah, having the Poe both games and Curtis not having an answer, that's a very tough spot to be in. Poe is very strong.
What do you think, Loopy?
You know what? I thought it was an interesting match. I've certainly seen a lot of that Yoda deck in the last week. I believe that Thork did a video, a deck tech with it, just the other day with T85, who ran it to a PQ win. So, I mean...
Did it win a PQ somewhere?
It did. It won a PQ in Europe. So, and it's a force-based blue-green heroism deck, which is a grindy deck. What we didn't see was the Yoda units coming out and playing a big part, which, that's really one of the biggest threats of that deck. So we're going to go into round 8 here, and how cool is it, though, that one of the undefeated matches was Han Yellow versus Yoda Green Forest? Did you have that on your bingo card, Jeff?
Only because I knew Curtis was going to be here.
All right.
As soon as I saw that there was one mono Han in the field, I said, "Oh, Curtis is there."
Okay, well let's actually look at Han 1's deck percentage here. So we see 11 on Echo base, so that's the Han Green 30 that like Alex Blendell and Sunny D's deck choice of Echo base. Then you have other Han Green 30s. You have Theed Palace. We saw Justice Desai running that command center.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 Data Voltons, which is interesting.
That's a throwback too. I liked that when Data Vault first came out. That's the only Data Vault deck I've actually liked playing. Han 1 or Han 2 Data Vault a long time ago, but
and then
interesting.
Though right under Echo base we have Shadowed Undercity, which is the Han Blue Force base. We saw one of my teammates, Carlos Apodaca, who's a great player, who run that and smash a Gar ECL. That match was over in about 10 minutes. So, that's coming to light a little bit too. So we'll see actually what
I really like the
comes
Han
into
1 Blue. I think that's probably the deck that the Force Throw ban helped the most, where you're still running Force things, but it was so tough to not run red. You're already losing out on Kiadi as hero, and you have Han 2 that lets you do broken things in a similar fashion. But I think Carlos showed the advantages of spending a card instead of dealing 2 damage to your unit. And there are a lot of intricacies in those matchups.
And I bet we'll see that again. I bet we'll see one of those decks again, either in round 8 or tomorrow. So look at all of the different Han bases, and then let's look at Cad Bane. There's 37 entrants, and every single one is on Tarkentown.
I'll have no shade thrown at my boy Cad.
Are you a Cad? Are you a Cad player, Tyvee?
I am a CAD player. I've taken him to 2 PQs now and a showdown yesterday. I love CAD. I've loved him for a little while.
I am surrounded by people that love CAD. Both a local guy to me, the CCC Sharky, as well as my teammate Carlos Torres, Yoda Killer. They both love CAD, so I hear about CAD constantly. Tivy, I've got to ask, do you like the one-drop CAD or the mid-range CAD? Because I think those are the real differences. Like, they're all Tarkentown, but they're very...
That's it, yeah.
You got to call the old CAD curvy CAD, because it still has a curve.
I think
Build decks
we always call it weenie CAD and mid range CAD.
Yep.
Look, when I first saw the list, and I know that was, I think Bobby Sapphire took that to a PQ and won.
Yep.
With that list. First time I heard about it, long time CAD player, love the mid range version. So I built the weenie one. Had a good time with it. I think it's really fun. It's probably not my play style though. I do prefer the mid range personally. I think it's also because it's quite popular. The weenie one. I think the mid range has a bit better time into it.
I could see that. I mean, when everything CAD loves any deck where everything has 1 health, right?
Absolutely, it's a good time. But I think it'd be really interesting to know. Like, obviously, you can't tell with the base choices, but it'd be interesting to know how many of them are the itty bitty one and how much is the mid range. Some nice post event analysis.
And actually, I think we have some ability to do that. And I'm just going through these powerful tools that Jonathan Fisher, goes through. But these are actually some things. This is the top performing cards. So I think it was round 5. So you can actually see how likely that card was to actually then be in a winning deck.
That's nice.
Right. So it's very similar to what Swoo Stats does, but it's using there. So, I mean, as you go down through here, we have those.
See some of those.
And there's
cards.
other things here. We're going to have definitely a leader shift graphic at the beginning of the next round. So there, but let's switch gears a little bit. Let me see if I can actually bring up the standings, because most of the top tables, actually, as I looked a second ago, have finished. So I'm going to actually very carefully bring up my tournament controller here. I can see the results as they come in. And this should go here.
While you're doing that, I'm curious on all your thoughts on the rise of Han 1 green. There's a lot of that now. We're seeing.
I think it's not. I think it's the logical evolution to take after Force Throw got banned. I talked about how much I like Han 1 blue for it, but I think the immediate thing is to go to Han 1 green, where you say, what are the underrepresented things that Force Throw was repressing? And the first thing you think about is Han 1.
Because it's so... you can attack it with discard. Is that what
exactly?
You're
Han 1 needs its hand to use as a resource. So you say, okay, now Han 1 is back. Let's look at what we can do with Han 1. And green last set was a major player with Han 1. You get interesting, you still get your turn 1 Falcons like every Han 1 deck can do. You get to back them up with things like Chewie Pilot. You get your Ewing reinforcements and Keller and Beck as your 7 drops. You get home 1 for when things go really late. So it's got a lot of tools and utility. To me, Han 1 green is kind of the logical place to go after the Force Throw ban with Han 1, but I'm excited that some guys like Carlos Apodaca went the blue route with it as well.
Yeah, so let's kind of go through. This is actually as good as I can see the standings as they're coming in live. We still have 46 matches out in the event generally, but as far as the very top tables here, we saw Dylan Sumner with Han 2 blue. Hey Kid Han for the Bothan, OG folks. Go 2-0 over Curtis. Excellent Han yellow pilot. We saw Carson Crusoe piloting Gar ECL as the other undefeated through 7 rounds, taking out Yoda Jedi Temple, Yoda Green Force. On table 3, this was the draw bracket of undefeateds as well. Mark Orn. Somehow a Vader yellow got a draw. What do you think happened there?
I mean,
what do you think happened there, Jeff?
003 makes me think it was an intentional draw. Usually that's the only way you see that put in.
Yeah, but he had a draw before this. This was an intentional draw. So what kind of matchup might give Verde Yellow an actual played out draw?
The deck can get pretty grindy. I would imagine some level of unfamiliarity. A lot of people talk about, XY slow play, this person playing slow. In my experience, usually quote unquote slow play comes from people not knowing what a deck is doing. So he could have been playing against a rogue deck and taken more time to try to figure out what it was doing, or it could have been against a pilot who was not familiar playing against Vader and was trying to spend more time figuring out the lines. But yeah, that is a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll
I also don't fully understand why anyone would intentionally draw in round 7 of 8 rounds of Swiss on a 2-day tournament. So I'm really confused about that. But we could be missing something. I'm not sure.
They're in the draw bracket, so they're thinking they might get to 3 draws, which is a win. I think that's actually what it is. Whether that's correct, I can't tell you. Table 4 was a data vault with Han 2, Red Han, data vault. Another deck that we saw kind of really drop off into set 4 after being played, set 5 after being played very well in set 4. But Christopher Patrick, has won 2-0 against Akira Data Vault. Let's see what his whole record is. Yeah, he's 5-0-1, so this was a draw bracket too. Akira was the other draw. So Christopher and Brian played it out with their Carlos Apodaca from Late Night Team is there with the Han Blue taking care of a Sabine. That's a very favorable matchup to Han Blue. His brother Emmanuel is an excellent Sabine player, as good as you can get. I'd take Emmanuel over just about anybody, including
That's
myself.
the only Sabine I've really seen at the top table.
Yep, but
right? I don't see any more up here. We didn't see it on stream, I don't think.
And one thing I know about Carlos is he likes to play decks that beat his brother. So they actually
it doesn't every sibling.
they actually were in the semis against each other at the PQ last week, where I was in the other semi with the Kylo Vault.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, Story is playing my deck. He switched to Kylo Data Vault from Kylo ECL for this. After that, so
nice.
And he's undefeated. Just saying. All right.
I think this goes to show how good the deck is. The Han 2 Blue deck is even post Force Throw. It's still putting up really good results. I think Force Throw let it do some unfair things. It now is still a very strong, but I think more fair deck.
Yeah, and that's who won. That's who won the Milwaukee PQ was Alex from Late Night Team on Han 2 Blue.
So the Canberra PQ I mentioned earlier, my comrade in arms, Tebow, won that with Han 2 Blue as well. He also made it to the top 4 in Perth. So it's still putting up very respectable numbers. I think a lot of people were like, well, Force Throw's gone now. This deck's going to drop off, but it's still very, very commanding.
All right, so let's just kind of finish up the standings. Justin Desai takes care of business with Han Green into Han Blue Force. We have Ben Olgert winning with Cad Bane Tarkentown into Akira Data Vault. Well played, Ben.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's not
to 2-0 it. That's impressive.
I mean, he must know the matchup, but I mean, you might have some tech expecting blue-green fill-in. Levi Ponce, who we saw before, lost to JV Bennett 2-0 on Table 8. Table 9, I was talking about this. It's Nathaniel Christiana playing Talzin Red into day 2 with that record.
Yeah, Talzin's also a deck that we haven't seen. Talzin and Sabine. Talzin I expected to fall off the map a bit. It's still there, obviously, but it lost so much losing Force Throw.
Yeah. I would. Here's what I'd say. I almost brought Talzin to that PQ the other week. Force Throw was not even the best red card in that deck. In fact, it's not even the second best red card.
Oh, it wasn't. I think Force Lightning was the best red card of the deck.
And the best red card, actually, I'd say is Fallen Lightsaber through about 700 games of testing.
Ooh.
But Talzin still has legs, and then Talzin Yellow also can do some things. And Talzin Yellow got help with Darth Traya the last set out of spoilers. So I don't think.
Oh yeah, next night I think it'll be back on the menu. A lot of those Traya shenanigans look pretty insane. I'm excited to mess around with those things.
Right. All right. So keeping down the lines here, but yeah, shout out to Nathaniel running Talzin. I ran that at Galactics. We did a masterclass of that, and I do think it's still, my win percentages are not that much changed, right? Because as much as you did lose Force Throw, I mean, you also lost the Quinlan's Force Throwing 7s that you had, so it's a little bit good for the gander.
I think as decks go, it's a very complicated
It is.
Sequencing and resourcing
Townsend is a
decisions
very complicated deck.
matters so much in Townsend.
Yeah. So and
Force was like the covering for you misplaying with the deck. Is
yeah,
kind of what I found.
exactly. Like if you're going to plan, you
100%.
don't. But I resource Force Throw with that deck all the time because oftentimes it's not what you need. One of the matches still out is Bobby Sapphire, Yellow versus Cad Tarkentile, and that would have been a great match to get. But Tyler Mershing, whose name sounds familiar to me, honestly, manages to take out Sonny D, Drew Borgenschneider. All right, so those are our standings right here. I'm going to head back to the other screen here.
Also, I think we saw those were all the X1 brackets because we saw Alex Blandon and Ian Klein there both winning. So I believe both of them are now. I know Ian is now locked for day 2, and I would imagine Alex Blandon is now as well.
Yeah, let me get that back.
6-1.
Yep. No, we have Alex. Oh, in fact, that is.
Oh, Alex hasn't reported yet.
That
Sorry.
is,
So Alex might still be playing.
That's an epic Alex mirror right there because you have two masters of those two decks. Because Alex Kresmaninsky, that's Late Night Gaming. He's our Han 2 Blue player. He's got 1,300 reps recorded with Han 2 Blue.
Oh, nice.
Alex Blandon, the master of Han Green. I wish that would have been a round 8 pairing. As a win and in, but that is still going on table 17, and those are two excellent players. Alex Blandon is a great
whoever
player.
wins that will be in day 2, and whoever loses will have to win their last round for day 2.
And it tells you something about the field that you have Ian Klein and Matthew Yakubina, that's Yako, playing at table 18. Right.
Ian actually lost his round 1 and has submarined all the way to 6-1.
So did Alex Kresmaninsky. He lost to Piet Colossus. And that's we have these top players, and sometimes you talk about what's good for day 1 and what's good for day 2. I mean, we've had that discussion. I imagine the Bothans have too. But
absolutely,
your round 1 pairing can be, tough. Because you can be the best Ray Dadevault player in the world. If somebody brought Akbar, and that's your round 1, you will lose that match. There's some decks that just have really a counter that just has other problems in the meta that you probably won't see as the top cut. But
Ian said he lost to a Piet Red in round 1 that still had Parliamentarian in their sideboard and got it both games 2 and 3.
Nice. All right.
Ooh. So we have some colourful language in Australia for those first round kind of pairings because you just never know what you're going to get, right?
So let me ask you this, Tyvee. What don't you have colourful language for in Australia?
That's a very interesting question.
The love of
the thing is with Aussie slang, we'll always make it up. So there's nothing we don't have an answer for when it comes to being colourful language. But it's interesting that first round pairing can kind of make or break. And I'll shout out one of the teammates at the Melbourne PQ yesterday. First round pairing, he's on Boba Data Vault, has top cut a bunch of PQs this set because in Australia, the highest sort of event we will see is planetary qualifiers. But first round went into a wedge red and lost. And I mean, you can't plan for those sorts of things. No matter how good of a player you are, you kind of need to be able to address that very wide field. We call it the siege is because you just don't know what you're going to get.
Right. All right. Well, so before
apparently
we go,
Tyler Mersing is Dark from McClunky Gaming.
That's Dark. That's Dark Tyler. All right.
Oh, okay. I never knew his last name. I love that guy. That guy is awesome. I've commentated with him before. I love Tyler. And we also got confirmation that Alex Blandon won the Battle of Alex's.
Yep. All right. Very good. All right. So before we go, since we have time for it, let's start first with Tyvee from Baddest. What's going on with your channel, and where can people find more excellent Aussie content?
Head over to the Baddest YouTube channel, BDST. We're streaming we've got a PQ coming up. We are doing some live streaming and recording. We've got our competitive team who is currently, I think in Australia, we've won the most planetary qualifiers, as well as a pretty successful team in placements. We do a podcast, which we'll actually be heading off to record shortly. Head over to the YouTube channel. We've got our Discord that you can join for chats. Yeah.
And I want to shout out not only you, but also the Tim Valletta And Clint too. He's
yes.
okay, but the stream overlays that are becoming more and more omnipresent among the coverage community are updated by Tim, who's just been a great resource, and we appreciate everything he does. So, give him a pat on the back from us over here in the States.
Absolutely. We love Tim V, and I could see the makings of the overlay being used today. He has done an amazing job on it, and he's constantly keeping it up to date and giving us new innovations. I love it.
And he's watching. I didn't even know that. All right.
He also,
he's in the
according
channel.
to his username, plays SWU. So
Look, I can confirm he does play some SWU.
All right, and then Jeff, you're an all-star. Jeff stepped into round one. That was going to be my commentary, but we were dealing with internet issues, which hopefully will be better tomorrow as there's less people there. But really, really, really a challenge today. But you've joined us for several rounds. This is your last today.
Yeah.
What's going on with the Botha network soon?
Nothing much. Just one of the largest, actually the largest SWU cash tournament in the game's history, I believe. Then the Bothan Invitational 2 next month in Atlanta. Another 3v3 team event. There's going to be another large main event. There's going to be a large prize pool. There's going to be drafts. There's going to be everything. I'm going to be in the 3v3, and then myself and Josh from Next Gen Gaming are going to be doing the commentary for the main event, along with some special guests along the way. I am super excited for that event. It's going to be at Cards HQ. An amazing store. They're at Portland right now, actually, and they go to most of these events wherever they can. I'm super pumped for that event.
Yep. Well, we can't look forward, and you said there will be a stream. I mean, there's actually a pretty decent chance that I'm able to help with commentary for 3v3 because of our numbers.
Nice.
I might sit out because I have some other skills maybe that could be used. But
yeah, they decided to let me play in that one, so.
All right. So, well, here we go. We're going to go back to We'll Be Back screen, and we're going to come back with the last round of today, round 8 of the Portland Sector Qualifier. Stick around.
is the way.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect.
What's up, Star Wars Unlimited fans? It's Loopy here at Late Night Gaming, and we're here for the last round of Swiss today with Jordan from Colorado Cantina Crew. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. It was a great day of SWU, and this is it. A win and in situation. We have Reflex from the Bothan Network versus Basil. Bountiful Basil. Basil is 5-2. Reflex is 5-2. Win and in. I mean, this is really what it's all about. Until we get to the actual top cut tomorrow, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, both of these players basically are done with the event if they lose. If they win, they're still in line to potentially, get into top 8 and take down all of the prizes that you get for the sectors. So, Reflex is a member of the Bothan competitive team. He's playing Kylo Tarkentown with the set 5 Kylo against a Boba Data Vault, piloted by Jordan S., who goes by Basil on Melee. What do you know about this matchup, Jordan?
I've been the whole day. I've been surprised to see Kylo Tarkentown being played by these trio of players. That's Frank and Lego Pizza and Reflex. I'm not sure what Crispy's on today, but they're all having pretty good days. So it's showing the deck can survive. So what I'm thinking is going to happen here is we need to see this game go long for Boba to have a chance. I mean, it's an interesting choice to not be on Data Vault with that lack of extra HP, but we all know what this Tarkentown does at this point, this Kylo Tarkentown deck, and we have to wonder, is Boba tech for it anymore? Is he running the parliamentarians, right? Like, that's going to be a big if they will they won't they situation as we get into this game, especially as it gets deeper.
And it's interesting too, because before the Force Throw band, I think that specific hate for Kylo and Kylo Tarkentown was prevalent. And the camera popped off a sec. We'll go to the other screen for a bit. We'll see if D-Rod can sort that out. But you've seen a lot of that anti-Kylo tech kind of come out of the decks.
Yeah. And on the other end, over on our channel, the Colorado Cantina Crew, we've been so negative on Boba all set long, and week after week, we continue to just we're confused about why it's so popular. But then it has pretty good results as well, right? So it's hard to argue with. At a certain point, you have to ask yourself, is this the week, or am I just stupid? And so far, it's been I'm just stupid for most of the set. So we'll see how that goes as this internet situation gets resolved here. But as you get into what you mentioned about the win and in and still having your eligibility for the top prize, there's been a lot of draws today, a lot of natural draws. There's a ton of 5-2 players. I think the top 16 is pretty much wide open for these 5-2 players right now.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's interesting to see, kind of the different strategies as you get to the math. One thing that's important to know about a sector is the records carry over from one to the other. So the draw isn't just about going to day 2 where it's going to be a reset, like you had at Galactics if you were in the day 1 to day 2 tournament. The draw might hurt you tomorrow if you take it now.
Yeah, and the way that a lot of these games are going, you kind of have to get a little matchup luck depending on the deck that you're playing to avoid those matchups that are more likely to end in a draw, right? Like today we've seen a control mirror with Kira Data Vault versus Kylo Data Vault. We've seen Ray Data Vault versus Palp Yellow. These decks grind. They can go long, and even this matchup, I would be surprised if this Boba 30 versus Kylo matchup is over within 30 minutes, right? So these things can have a propensity to hit time, and you have to be prepared for that as you're doing this large event, this many rounds, and round after round. It's better to get it early or late, and then there's also the concept of saying, hey, if you get three draws throughout the tournament, I guess it's a win, but I don't really think that's a winning strategy either.
Okay. Brandon Snyder in the chat says that Jordan is a local. Hoper gets says, so is Jordan a female? Because certainly there's females named Jordan. And
it is one of those names, yeah.
And, Basil may do that. Jeremiah Hoyditch asks in the chat, is it open deck list day 2? No, it is not open deck list day 2. And it was actually really kind of surprising that Galactics turns out how it did. I think that was a choice they kind of had to make. Their hand was forced by kind of some deck lists becoming public when they shouldn't have been there. But, no, it's It's there. All right. So I still do not have any video whatsoever from our what we were going to do is the feature match. I'm going to see if I can actually look at the backup table right now. See if that's
let's see if we got that. Let's get some gameplay for them.
All right, so I'm going to switch over. It looks like there. So this is going to be a different match than what we're intending, but we're dealing with, this is a confluence of factors with the internet and the hotspot. I don't think that we actually have any, technology that can improve it here. I think we have the best hotspot that we can have, but it's struggling to maintain a 5G connection at all in the venue. During Minnesota, they were running at 5G LTE, which is a heck of a lot faster than this. And for those that are talking about that the stream quality, looks like a dial-up modem. In some cases, the dial-up might have been faster when we're actually getting in. We're glad that we're able to get something out to you because this is as challenging as it's been.
So we do have some gameplay. Loopy, if you could refresh the Discord stream, it's still on the point breakdown for me. But looks like we have your teammate Alex, who's been rocking Han2 Blue, coming up against Kira Data Vault. Looks like we're on the Han flip turn. Han's deploying 0 damage on base, 6 damage on Kira. So we'll get you caught up here as we get into it. Han takes 2 damage by attacking into the Pike Sentinel, and we go on to Resource 6.
All right, and this is...
And I guess Kira's already taken care of as well, so there must have been a mace or some sort of open fire. I'm not sure if he's running that.
Yeah, and we have the overlay. Let me actually get that updated here. The Han player is actually in a win and in too, is Alex Krasmazinski. Long name, Alex K.
It is, but let's go Alex K.
He is the Han 2 guru for Late Night Gaming, and actually won the 5K with him, or the PQ, last week.
Yeah, I was commentating on that. He had some great gameplay throughout the day.
And
so we see Kira start out with a Vader ambush, pulling the phase trooper out, followed up by a Poe from Alex, both loading up the board a little bit. This game is far from a quick one either, right? Like,
oh no,
it's tempting to push damage early, but you really have to set up for the long game if you're Han2 here.
And I really was kind of expecting it to go to time. As we were doing this, we wanted to have content, through the end of it, and I expected it to be a little bit faster than the other match, but here we are.
Totally.
So I got to get the player name here. This is...
Looks like Kira's really taking their time resourcing, taking a look through their resource pod to see, hey, have I already put down too many of my bombs? Like, how conservative do I need to be here? And it looks like we're not being that conservative as we're considering putting down a reinforcement walker. Could be big, as we alluded to. This is a very grindy matchup, especially when crates start to come out. That reinforcement walker heal could be a make or break in some games.
Right. And, I mean, here you have a Vader and a Phase 3 Dark Trooper on one side looking down Poe Dameron, a hyperspace Poe Dameron. On the other, the barrage is big.
Very well timed. Clears Poe, clears the board, and now you have a buffed up Vader.
But that Vader has 3 damage on him. So now the barrage gives him 5 remaining health, and we see his son and arch nemesis since that one, Luke Skywalker, come and clear the Vader.
Clearing the board. Now the onus is on Kira to deal with Luke.
Yeah, and it's
not immediately.
It's notable that the Luke's at full health, right? He didn't actually have to play it on 6. And Alex, I can tell you, probably has, if not the most reps of Han 2 Blue on the planet close. I mean, he's a grinder. I mean, and I know it's not just that I'm saying, and his SWU stats indicates, 1,300 some games played with Han 2 into a variety of matches, so he knows all the matchups very well, and Kira would be no exception. It's not what you want to see for Han. That's not going to be a walk in the cake by any means. This is a very, very even matchup.
Yeah, walk in the cake, that's a new one. I'm going to start using that. We see Kira shield up the phase trooper and take 3 to base. And I can speak to that. I actually played some practice games against Alex this week with Thrawn Data Vault. They were 3 grindy games as we were having a good play session with it. Very skilled players. Right.
Oh, with Alex.
But now with
Alex
the day we were hanging out in the channels, we once you hopped off, we played some games, which was good.
Yep, nope. He's basically on for lunch games every day. And, Alex is one of the reasons for the success of the rest of our team, too. And just that kind of reps
I love it.
that he gets, being able to get quality testing reps as you go. Somebody's got to coordinate all that, so.
Seen a big spend here, and we're going to see the first crate of the game. Always difficult to deal with, even more so when there's Luke Skywalker next door.
And that is one of the best finishing cards in SWU, I think.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Of course. I mean, in between the finishing that we have Avenger coming down, clearing Luke Skywalker. Now Alex has to decide where he wants to put this 9 damage. Loopy, what do you think it feels really bad to pop a shield here. I think you just have to go to base.
Oh yeah, I doubt that's what he's thinking about. So
it seems like a pretty cut and dry one, but he taking a sweet time, so I hadn't been worried.
But I mean, notice how he valued that. I mean, he knew his Luke was available for an Avenger or a Power of the Dark Side or all the nasty things that blue villain can do to you, and he played the crate that way anyway. And I would know that. I mean, that was on purpose, knowing that that's one of the cards that actually wins you the game, that turns it around for Han.
Yeah, and the thing about crate is that there's always going to be, when there's one, you're more likely to see another and another after that. And Kira's going to have to deal with probably at least 2 in this game. I would be surprised if we get to the end without another crate dragon.
Though I don't know you'll see it right away. What you'll see is Entrenched, which is a card that, Alex actually was adding to Han before many, many people. And entrenching that Avenger is great. I mean, it's unlikely that he'll ever play a space unit as Han 2 Blue. In fact,
yeah, at the Cantina Crew, we were on Entrenched for Worlds as well, and it could really just shut down one of these Avengers. And a lot of times you don't have a direct answer to that. And what you also know is that Han has his bombs, but so does Kira, right? Like Devastator exists. You need to have answers, and sometimes you don't want to use the Fel right away. Sometimes you don't want to blow a Force Lightning if you're using it. I don't think Alex runs it particularly, but in this situation right now, that Devastator is kind of being locked out. We're 2 turns away, but that crate, when that's on the ground, you can't drop a Devastator.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can't go to 25. Absolutely not. So actually, I need to put that. They're working hard to try to reboot table 1. We move to the backup.
Yep.
So, shout out to
and luckily for us, it's a great backup.
Yeah.
Right?
Shout out to D-Rod and Unlimited Power. I mean, he's been our man on the ground, today, and dealing with a heck of a situation there with the way that the things performed.
They did a great job with the PQ stream last week, and they're doing a great job today as well.
Yep, and it's it is kind of interesting that it's actually easier in a lot of ways to get this done at a PQ, depending on the story. And now some of those can be actually really problematic too. But I mean, typically the cost of convention center internet is just not something anybody can deal with. So I see that the crate has been taken care of by Kira. It looks like we have Churret on the ground to get Avenger.
And I guess he did use the ping to take out the shield, and then all of a sudden, big Devastator comes down, clears the Churret. Really big turn, a lot of onus on Alex to have an answer here for Devastator.
All right, so 15 damage on Kira's base. If there's 1 Churret, there might as well be 2. Inferno 4 attacks in for 2.
Now, if he doesn't have an answer, I think you probably just have to claim. But instead, he plays a Poe, trying to build a board a little bit, which I could see that argument as well. Hopefully, you draw into some stuff and you have a big base to attack from. But having knowing you're about to take 10 when I believe you are already on 10 damage, it's hard to see with this token. It's either 10 or 5. I see the yellow tint, so. Taking 10 is never good, especially this late in the game.
Yep. So this is as good as the life packs are for visibility. The other metal fed tokens, tend to blend in. So we sent a message there. There's no way that these guys know that they're on stream right now, because they would think that they're the backup.
Because it's so early in the round, exactly.
Something is, you never know what's going to happen, and this is actually a tough match. I think that Kira really has Han on the back foot.
Yeah, you really need to get super aggressive dealing with these threats. You need to have an answer for Devastator within the next turn, or you're just lose. It's that simple, right? Like you could take 1 and you could survive, but mathematically you just can't take 2.
And we've only seen 1 entrenched. There's a
Oh my
relentless.
And now we see a relentless, which basically turns off any of his ability, him being Alex, to deal with Devastator on this round. So he's taking 10 and he's going at 20 most likely by the end of this turn.
A wild D-Rod appears and fixes the life pucks.
Shout out D-Rod. So we're at 15 to 10.
All right, so Alex's turn. I mean, he's got to have Entrenched right now. And ideally another one. He needs the third copy to take care of the Relentless to, close down the Space Dorito assault going on there. So he's just going to tank the damage from Devastator.
The three of them at once. I don't know if I've ever seen a board state with the three of them out at once, if I'm being honest.
Yep, so, in my family we call them, that's my son's thing, the Space Doritos. The Avenger is the Cool Ranch
Nice.
Dorito. The Relentless, the Nacho Cheese, or Nacho Event Dorito. And the Devastator.
So Devastator swings in for 10, bringing Han to 20. And then I guess he swings back for 8, but I guess, Kier could just claim here and that's game.
Maybe.
See a power to turn off Relentless.
So I think Kira did maybe claim.
Yep.
It's at 23.
Yep. Now this event's going to count. Or no, it's not an event. It's the itinerant.
The itinerant is huge. Using the Force.
Yep. Get you out of that lethal range with one action.
Right, because
And now is there a second answer?
Right, because Devastator hits for 10. Relentless represents 8.
And
Avengers
let's not forget.
not a problem right now. That is Marin, I think.
Mm-hmm. So on Alex's side, he's got Poe, Marin, Churret, and the Warrior. On Steven's side, we have an Entrenched Avenger, Devastator, Inferno 4, and Relentless. Got to have an answer to at least Devastator here.
All right, and it looks like the other table is going to game 2 right now. We'll try to get an update there. We might be able to switch back to the other match after this one.
We'll do our best to get you as much SWU as humanly possible in this
That's
last
what we're
round.
trying to do.
10 to base from the Devastator, bringing Han to 27.
All right,
We are scooping and going to game 2. The fist bump was offered. Really tough to win a game when there's the 3 capital ships out there like that.
Yeah, no, it's the holy trinity of blue-green villain. He had a trenched for the first Avenger. Now, I wonder what the result would have been had he been able to entrench the Green Devastator. Because that's something that... there. Oh, yeah, Cynical says the power of Darkseid was off of Poe. Discarded by Poe.
Got it. Got it.
To do that, not there. All right, so... Well, there's sideboarding. We're going to try there, so... The video going off is intentional. All right.
Looks like we're just getting started on game 2 here with, I'm not sure who took game 1. Do you,
We don't know yet. We'll know soon. It is game 2.
yeah, it looks like Boba had the play here, so maybe it's fair to assume that Reflex got game 1.
Reflex got game 1, correct.
Yeah, we start off with the classic Migs Tarkin Town that you know and probably don't love, realistically speaking, and we go into Resource 3.
I mean, you love it if you're playing Kylo. It's your thing. I mean, it's just an exceptionally strong opener, right? And I think that kind of makes the deck hole work. I mean, the biggest problem, if you have Migs open, right, I don't think the deck is actually that much worse than it was. It's when you don't have Migs open, because the other one they relied on was Witch Force Throw.
We see Basil follow up in turn 2 with this Super Laser tech. Wonder if you just get a Migs discard to clear or if we ignore. Even better, we get a Fallen Lightsaber on Migs, buffing him to a 5/5. And then Migs takes 5 to base. Cycling with Kylo, discarding a perilous position. maybe just deciding if he wants to do the MIGs or. Yep, he's doing the MIGs to base. Got it. On to resource 4. Reflex is in a really nice position here. Obviously, a little vulnerable to some upgrade hate here, whether it's like a Fang fighter. I know some of these lists are running like the DRK probe droid, but you have to answer this MIGs, or he's just going to disrupt your board and hit you for 5 every single turn.
Right, and the super laser tech isn't quite enough, with the extra health from the upgrade. And I think that's actually like Kylo's not a super easy deck to pilot either. Right, and one thing that's really nuanced about it is when you want to actually play your upgrades on your weenies, which is fairly often, frankly.
Yeah.
But if you just
speaking of that laser tech, he did attack in and ramp up to 5, giving Boba a little more flexibility for this turn.
Yeah, the survival rate of super laser tech is not good. I mean, they might need to have some kind of counseling program set up on the Death Star because
it's a high vacancy position, a lot of turnover.
Yeah, especially if it's Palp Yellow. I mean, then you're don't even live in action most of the time.
Yeah. So looks like Reflex is starting out with the Witch of Mist here. One resource.
Which is the card Reflex is apparently responsible for in the Kylo deck.
Yeah.
That
in this situation, he's responsible for 2 indirect damage.
And a second fallen lightsaber.
And another one. Man.
Do you, Jordan, know what's better than a fallen lightsaber?
2
fallen lightsabers on Migs Mayfield. Yeah. Here we go. Let's go,
Migs
folks.
Swings in for 8 damage, taking him to half of his life total. Wonder if he's missing Data Vault right about now.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that the extra 3 health is going to save things if you don't find an answer for that ground arena real soon.
Probably not, but the draws haven't been too kind yet, I don't think. So we're going into that 6 resource turn for Boba. Clearly he's going to flip. That's not going to kill Migs. It could kill the Witch, but he's likely going to take 8 damage if he can't deal with it. So I don't know.
Yeah, and more with the discard.
What a good option here is.
So, I mean, 2 Mig swings and a discard is all it's going to take.
I think we could get a spicy power failure coming in. Just discard both of them.
Well, that would be pretty good. If you have power failure, you should cast it. I mean, even a Force Choke doesn't kill Migs by itself. Now, Boba deploy plus a Force Choke does.
Yeah, but in that situation, you're still taking 8.
Yeah, well, there we go. Well, Ruthless is a start. So
yep, 2 damage to base and 2 to Migs.
Reflex is going to have to figure out how to turn on his life puck because
he's going to sleep. Yeah, because you haven't been taking damage.
His data's become relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now Migs can be killed, but does he have another upgrade to stop this?
Like a hot shot or something?
If he's got like a constructed, something that gives health. If he has got something to take Migs out of the range to be able to be killed by this, could be even like a perilous position is not the upgrade that you need. All right, nope. Otherwise I expect him to swing, right? Because the Boba deploy can do 4 damage to a unit. My expectation is that Jordan would rather Migs die than the Witch of the Mist.
I as another Jordan, I agree with that preference. 8 to base from Migs. So far, Migs himself has dealt 23 damage, including his ability. So 21 pure attacking, 2 from his ability, or maybe even 5 or 4, excuse me. So Migs is finally dead. And we got Boba on the Dordian gunship. Pretty big unit over there.
Yep, and away we go. And look at this, the familiarity with the deck. He says, Boba, I mean, you can attack me. I mean, it's only 9, right?
Bro. It's good.
Yep, there you go. So I think that's Dornian is well, let's put the card up there.
I think that's an 8-7, 8-8, 8-9, 8-10, 8-10, I think.
Yeah, so it takes 8.
Andrew doesn't care, though. Reflex doesn't care. He's taking 4 to base.
So 4-6. Added 4 more for Boba.
And Jordan's in check right now. Right, this Boba player needs to figure out something to do. Probably needs to claim and hope for an OB, but then Kylo's just going to flip, and I don't know if there's many outs here.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly what's in the discard. I mean, a snapshot makes this kind of academic.
Well, we're going next turn, and I believe that this is the 6 resource turn for Kylo, 7 for Boba. In Kylo's discard, we know there's the 2 Fallens,
Right.
Heroic Resolve, and the Perilous Position. I don't believe there's anything else.
Okay. So no snapshot is relevant. Right now, Boba is representing 4 damage from the Ruthless and another 8 from the Dornian.
Which isn't insignificant.
And on the gun,
It's like Maul's coming down.
Maul comes down, and Maul really ruins a lot of parties in Star Wars Unlimited.
Maul overwhelms for, I think, 4 damage here, taking Reflex to 13 on base. Reflex has to have an answer here. I think that might be lethal. 13, 17, 25, yeah.
How things change. Perilous.
You see a Perilous come down, exhaust the Dornian. One less thing to deal with for now.
I see it constructed in the discard now, too.
Mm-hmm. So let me see that.
So Jordan also wants to see whether there's a snapshot reflexes in the discard. Because you got to make this hard decision, and this is what's great about Star Wars Unlimited. These kind of decisions like this. Whether to attack with the Ruthless or not.
Well, that brings him to 17, and then, now he's out of lethal with both the Dornian and Maul. Right, that 8 power was really, really clutch for the Dornian coming in. So I think it is a pretty tough call, but you do know you're going to have to deal with that Kylo flip next turn, most likely. Whether it's a suited up Kylo or a standard Kylo, I think that's the question, right?
So, claims. We have open fire from all. And we're going to go to the next round. All right, so now the Dornian represents 6.
So we're going to be too short sans a buff here.
Right. With a big, angry Kylo. And one of the disadvantages of playing green as opposed to blue, the advantage often ramp in some of the great cards like Craven Power you get access to, but you don't have Power of the Dark Side.
That's correct. And on top of that, another disadvantage we look from the other perspective is that, Kylo does gunk up all the works in the ground arena, but right now that's not what he's worried about, right? So the Kylo flip alone isn't going to do it.
Right. Planetary would, as Sage indicates in the chat. And it is there.
And he has it. That represents 12 to base.
So we are going to game 3, I believe.
Yep.
If 13 plus 12 still equals 25, I think we're going to game 3.
Quick maths.
All right.
Well played by both players there. Really a game of arithmetic there, going action back and forth. Having both, I think, is the Dornian a capital ship as well, or just the Raider?
It is.
Yeah.
So, and how quickly a match can swing, right? Because really, you had Migs just on a tear with dual-wielding fallen lightsabers and taking Boba down to 4 health remaining only. But he was able to clear the board off with a combination of Ruthless Raider, the Boba deploy action onto that ship, and ultimately, without a unit to soak any indirect, was able to devote all 12 of the planetary bombardment damage to the Tarkin Town base.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I don't need to say it, but the Migs with 2 lightsabers is a pretty high rolly strategy, right? Like, he got punished with the Maul coming down, or was it that was on the Witch of the Mist that the Maul came down? Yeah, so it all comes together. The Migs was cleared with the Boba flip, but
it is a game of inches, right?
Yeah,
because the Maul overwhelm ultimately is what put it in range of lethal, and it's just a damage here or there.
And that 12 is really a big cutoff point for this deck, and basically this deck alone, right? Not many other things represent 10 damage directly to base.
Right. No, Planetary Bombardment. Piet Red, I mean, maybe even uses that card better than Boba, but it's close.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, anything that runs the capital ships, any space tech that runs red. I mean, Planetary Bombardment is just a hugely relevant card.
Just tip Boba's playing just standard Boba 30. I think it's Tapioca City. There's been some discussion recently, this past week especially, about Data Vault. I know Wu put out a video. Loopy, I think you said that there's going to be a video coming out on late night as well.
Yes. We have Mo the Monster coming there to do an analysis of the math of Data Vault. And actually, he's been working on it there. He did a base math and statistics video at the beginning of the set that Data Vault was in. And actually had Colossus ranked as the best of the rare bases. And that's not been the case. Data Vault is far and away the most winning base for PQs in set 5, as it was for set 4. And there's some interesting nuances with SWU and the 2 resource or 2 draw 1 resource mechanic that probably play into that. And then the value of 3 health might be a little different than it would be in a game like Magic, where you take all of your actions 1 turn at a time. So we're getting started in game 3 here. We're not sure how game 1 went because we were on our backup match, but in game 2 we had the MiG start from Reflex, which is what he's looking for here. We have Reflex mulliganing and Jordan on Boba liking what they see. So big game here, right? It's a win and in, like we mentioned. It's a long day. It's a long day of us casting. It's a longer day, a much longer day for these competitors. So it all comes down to this. This is the last game, and especially with the mulligan from Reflex, you hope that he drew into something good, and it's a pretty good start with the Secret of Sage. Secret of Sage is a great unit. 2/2 shielded. It's not what you want. I mean, I think that basically in all matchups, Kylo would prefer to have Migs Mayfield. But sure. I mean, if you're not able to do that, Secret of Sage is about as good as you can get. And I think you have Pride coming down on the other side.
And speaking of not exactly what you want in this situation, it's really not what you want. Yeah, in fact, you're not on the play here.
In fact, a lot of Boba players will side it out, depending whether you're on the play or the draw. Mm-hmm. So, Pride is, if you don't have initiative, a 2/3 vanilla, essentially. All right, so we go to turn 2. Reflex puts down his 3rd reflex source, readies his units. We have upgrade immediately.
I believe it's the constructed.
I believe it is the constructed, and constructed lightsaber has a dual role. It has to go on a force unit. That's the downside, but the upside is it gives a neutral unit Sentinel. So
yeah, but the big downside here, Loopy, is that Fang Fighter came in and discarded that upgrade. We get a cycle here with the snapshot reflex, which was a big lack of last game, right? That was one of the big things that we didn't have as an option on the table for reflex. We see Secret of Sage go into Pride and then clearing Pride with Tarkin Town, and then we go into Recess 4. So the answer for that upgrade really well timed here. Yep. We got to see Reflex recover in this next coming turn.
And one advantage of the Boba deck is that it can reasonably main deck the Fangs. And if not, they're going to be in the deck for the sideboarded games against Kylo. All right, so both of these players trying to stay alive at the Portland sector. This is a win and in. Both of these players are 5-2. We have a daring raid
coming in.
Yep, by Boba, and then gets an indirect as
Clearing
well.
Secretive Stage and doing 1 to base. Wouldn't be surprised if we just see the Fang Fighter take his 3 here. Nope, we got open fire stopping that from happening.
And this time you see...
And then resupply from Boba.
You see Kylo playing control far more than game 1, where we had all of this damage.
For sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we have a clear board going into what I believe is the 5 resource turn for Kylo and the 6 resource turn for Jordan.
Yep. We did just see that ramp with the resupply. So,
and I do tend to think that it's safest to play in, solid opaque sleeves for an event, given the marking rules and everything else. But I mean, it does make it a challenge to count resources.
especially when it's black on black, right?
Right. My brain works in sets of threes to where I always keep my resources in sets of threes, so I can remember how many I got. All right, Boba
You
flips
just
to
see
the
Boba
ground.
flip to ground here.
All right. So power of the dark side.
Oh, right into power. We get a Dornian coming in, I believe.
I believe that
Wait
is.
for the internet to refresh a little bit.
And we have Karis coming down for reflex.
Going into Kylo's 6 resource turn. Boba's going into 7. Getting closer to Boba's bomb, so Reflex has to have an answer.
Somebody in the chat, Kyle Kraft, questions the letting Jordan do more commentary. Do you know that
I
guy?
question like everything. You know what's funny? Tada mentioned that Bobby Sapphire was 2 years older than him earlier on. I think Kyle's like 11 or 12 years older than me, so suck it, Kyle. So we go into the next round with I don't know who has the advantage here. It's been a much slower game, but I do worry about the huge units that Boba has around the corner if I'm Reflex here.
Yeah, basically every group of friends in Colorado has a guy named Kyle, right?
We got 2 men. We got 3 of them on the team.
All right, so we go into this turn. This is the deploy turn. We have a planetary bombardment 412, so that's going to be a lot of damage to base. I expect
Second time this
Karis to take
this match,
3.
that card was huge. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, it's great. It's one of the best cards in Boba's deck, certainly against a 25 health base.
And even more so against a deck that doesn't tend to play a ton of units.
Interesting. So he puts 10 on base, and then I believe that would leave 2 to Karis. Dornian is a capital ship.
I think that we see Karis not getting beat up like that because for Reflex to really mount a defense here, he needs to be able to have a unit on the board.
Right.
You know, like he can't just sacrifice everything, and it's not that type of control deck. You know.
Right. Force lightning. So he might not be flipping this turn.
I don't think so.
He's got Migs, that's why.
You do see Migs come down. Yep. And then Karis taking 2 to base. I think Reflex is really trying to operate for a huge flip here, especially now that we have saw that snapshot in the discard pile.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I think it's kind of a different experience playing against the Kylo deck with somebody that's picking it up after maybe watching the masterclass, or maybe not even doing that, just trying to see what the runner-up deck of Worlds was and playing against the Bothan running it, that have, kind of the reps and the benefit of the internal testing when the deck was being built.
Yeah. And Reflex was running this at Worlds as well.
Yep.
He finished right outside the top 16, I believe.
And I believe he won a PQ as well.
Yeah, Reflex is a very skilled player. Very, very skilled player.
Yeah, he was actually Guy Cohen's opponent in the Orlando 5K. Way, way back when. That kind of set the set 1 meta.
Here comes the ooh. Never mind. Maybe it was going to be a droid missile platform, but reconsidering the action here. Oh, it's because Reflex wasn't ready yet. And here comes the droid missile platform.
The droid missile platform is good news for Reflex because Boba's at on 8, which is where you'd expect to have a Devastator.
Could have been a lot worse.
That's right. So now it's time for Kylo math. You can see the gears turning in his head as he decides both the sequence and what to do.
So on board, he has 4 damage. That would bring Boba to 6 from Kylo. We know that one of them's likely going to be Snapshot, right? So that's 6 damage as a base. And he probably could afford the Fallen at least. Maybe the Constructed would be the move to get Raid 2. There's no ground units to really pop with Fallen. Talking about like 13, 14 damage on board with that flip, give or take.
Yeah. Jordan helpfully marks, showing that the Boba deploy has already happened. Goes to 4 damage with a Karis attack.
Yeah, I think Reflex is like, hey, you're gonna take some actions before I commit to this. One of those
Craving
actions
power.
being a Vader pilot.
Oh, it's Vader Pilot. Yeah, it's not
Yep.
not as good as Craving Power either. I can show you Vader Pilot. Well, Reflex reads the card. We're gonna read the card.
No,
too.
I haven't seen this in a while.
Scourge of Squadrons. Great card, actually. You want to win with Inquisitor?
Yeah, that's
put it on a
3/3.
0 attack ship. All right.
Migs takes 2, brings Boba to 6.
All right. So the Vader piloted droid missile platform represents 7 damage. Actually, 8 damage right now because of the ping ability.
Force Lightning comes and clears, and then also
Ooh.
prevents the indirect damage. Reflex being very, very patient with this Kylo flip here.
Yeah, and that's good, and he's going to do that. And the constructed is the biggest bang for your buck because it adds 4, so that does 9 more damage to the base, taking it to 15.
And now all of a sudden, Reflex has quite the board and probably has enough of a board to soak up another planetary bombardment if that's the case.
Right, and the constructed takes Kylo out of cannot be killed by Maul in 1 action. And there's not much ability of the Boba deck with an empty board to do 8. They need to barrage. That Force Lightning was huge.
I think a big difference here is the missile gun, the droid missile platform plus Vader in lieu of Devastator really changes how Reflex needs to react on that turn.
All right, so he takes care of Migs, which is good
Takes
news.
Reflex to 14.
But now it's Reflex's turn to swing, and only 3 resources left. Puts
And then that one indirect.
the one indirect from Boba Leader. Yep. Looks at the discard.
Taking a look at the discard pile. So what's he looking for here, Loopy?
Maybe Maul. I mean, he's thinking about the next turn because I don't think he can do 15 damage this turn.
No.
Unless there's a
He's
mod.
going to do...
Unless he has Mahdi in play,
8.
which
He's gonna,
doesn't seem right. I don't know how you kill Mahdi either. You'd need to have a Fallen or a Sith Holocron. All right. What will be the play, Mr. Cox? He's actually a coach.
So Kylo is swinging for 9, right? Karis does swing for 2 first, bring him to 17. You get a claim from Boba here.
He's a collegiate coach for a living. And another upgrade.
That is a Hot Shot Blaster.
Hot Shot Blaster.
And then another Hot Shot Blaster.
Kylo dual wielding. And
that
that is it. Able to take care
Reflex
of Jordan with 2 Hot Shot Blasters. And notably, both cast from hand.
And just like that, Reflex cashes this ticket to day 2 of Sectors. Great win for him. Great day. I mean, both these players to get to this record in this type of field, very well deserved on both sides. Feels bad on one, feels great on the other. Congrats to Reflex, and we're just a great played set by both players here. We missed game 1, but really got a banger of game 2 and 3.
And congrats to Jordan on a great tournament. I mean, it always hurts, going home after the last round. You can only relate, but plenty of side events tomorrow, and hopefully he has a good time. All right, we're going to see about our other match, and go from there.
Yeah, and when you lose to a player like Reflex, there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. You have a great day, and look at us. It looks like we're right in time for game 3 here.
So that means Alex took game
Beautiful.
1. Look at the timing. Maybe the internet gods have not been kind to us, but the timing gods were good today.
So now we have a great end to the stream. Really, really appreciate everybody hanging with us for the day. Again, another win and in situation. So 2 players going home upset, 1 in a better mood. We see Ogdo Bogdo starting out from Han 2 getting cheated out by Alex, and we go into the Resource 3 turn with Pershing and Ogdo out. So Pershing and Ogdo are pretty interesting, right? Because Ogdo swings into Pershing, heals, and then no longer can attack. So.
Yep. So see if he has a Grogu there. I mean, we tease Alex that he has Ogdo in his pocket literally every match. But we'll see if he actually goes at the Pershing or not. It'll probably depend whether he has an ability to do it. He goes base.
He's going 5 to base.
As he's want to do. All right, I'm going to need to update the overlays if you want to do the call for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's an argument with the purse string stuff just because card draw sucks so bad when you're playing a control deck like this. But, you want to keep Ogdo swinging and go aggressive. Speaking of aggressive, we've seen an aggressive cheat out of the Itinerant Warrior here. No heal, no usage of the Force yet in this game. And then we see the Kira player come down. I think that is Basil. No, that was the last game. We see the Pike Sentinel get shielded here. See some shield trading going here with the Reddit admin into the Pike Sentinel, and then a Fell the Dragon coming down for Ogdo Bogdo. I know you got to clear Ogdo. You can't keep on taking 5 to base, but Crate Dragon exists, Luke exists, Anakin exists. So it's tough in terms of what you have answers to.
If I wasn't mistaken, did you just refer to the Internet Warrior as the Reddit admin?
Yeah, it's like the alter ego.
I think that's right. Perhaps a White Knight.
I got to give Kyle Kraft some shout outs. I usually don't give him much credit, but that was a good one from him. So,
well,
all right, going to resource 5 here. Great board from Alex. Solid game state for Kira as well. In this beginning, you're just really trying to set the stage. See that Sentinel cleared by the first admin. Then the Devastating Gunship clearing the second. So
and Devastating Gunship is pretty good there.
Page.
You certainly don't want a mace there. I got to update.
Yeah, we've seen that Gunship do work in a bunch of games today.
Right.
Here taking 4 more, 3 more, going to 8 on base, and we still haven't seen a resource spent by Alex here. Looks like we have Alex trying to go a little bit wide here. Or no, just a turret. So does he cheat out the turret? Yeah, he does cheat out the turret. So, or no, he just wasn't tapping his resource in time. So Chirrut played for full price and he has 1 resource left.
Right. Well, that turret serves to stonewall Kira.
Yep.
And he'll use the Force.
So Kira swings in, forces Chirrut to make the decision. Alex does use the Force to only take 2 to Chirrut. And now you have a really buffed Kira that really needs to be taken care of on first action here. In this next
absolutely.
phase.
And how that happens will tell us something about the rest of Alex's hand, because if it's anything other than Han going into it, that tells me that there's probably a Luke.
And conversely, it told you a lot about the Steven's hand here as well, right? Like if you have OB, you're just snap claiming and saving a lot of units and damage.
Yeah, I don't think
it starts off taking person out.
Yep, I don't think that there's heroic and villainy in the discard, or he doesn't have Anakin, because Anakin would be just backbreaking right now if Alex had the ability to throw both wind blades.
Oh my god, yeah.
All right, so both of these players have been jamming Star Wars Unlimited all day. They are fighting for their tournament lives. These are actually win-and-ins. There's Luke hitting the floor. Gigantic play right there, representing Restore and 6 damage. Power of the Dark Side. I guess my guess is he doesn't choose Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, that would be a fair assumption, I think. He takes the readied unit, which, it sucks leaving damage on the base, but, you don't want to give up Han for that.
That tells me something, too, because he didn't pick Han again, so I think he probably has a larger hand of small units that he wants to use the Han action multiple times.
And then I believe we see Kira follow that power up with a resupply, so that would bring Kira, I think, to resource 8. Right. I'm not 100% positive on that as well, but what we've been seeing here is that last phase was just so giant from Alex, a really threatening board all of a sudden dealt with.
And I can guarantee you what both of these players don't want to have happen is a draw, right? Because a draw would actually put neither of them into day 2. So they are playing like lightning.
Looks like we have 10 minutes and 45 seconds left in the round. I'm not positive how accurate that is, but 10 minutes should be enough at this game pace for sure.
It's not far off. I'll try to get an exact time from the judges. 1 second.
Mm-hmm. See Kira start off with a reinforcement walker here, discards Inferno 4 to heal 3 down to 14. Han puts her right back up to 17 though.
Right.
And then fell the dragon to clear the walker.
And that's
Looks like Alex is going to try to go a little wide here with a cheated out turret, really restocking the board, protecting Luke Skywalker.
And this is the death grip that Han can put on you. Is there a crate to close the door?
Mm-hmm. And I think we are 1 resource off of the Devastator here. We have Steven kind of like clumping up his resources, so it's been hard to tell, but my count here has him at 9.
And then somehow the player on a black mat has black sleeves and a player on a green mat has green sleeves.
What a time to be alive.
That's exactly right.
You see a Galactic Championship Snoke coming out. Doesn't clear anybody, but weakens up the turret and the Skywalker.
Yep. Not the Han.
Kiadi coming down.
Yeah, Dante, and people talking about the life pucks from Metal Crab. They're great. We hope to actually have a link to get you guys to those tomorrow. But yeah, no, they're really nice and visible here.
Oh, we love them. We use them on midday matchup. I use them every time I go out and play.
Yep.
They're awesome. Great battery life.
Dante's an old Destiny player too, so great person around the Chicago area, I believe.
So we see Han swinging in for 3, unaffected by Snoke's ability. Believe that puts Kira at 20 damage. Still 13 left.
That's right.
So we're waiting for the internet to catch up here.
It's been the story of today. And there we go.
In that catch-up period, we see another internet warrior coming out, shielded, full health, really, really intimidating base here for Alex on Han 2 blue. I think we really need a blast here, otherwise this game's going to be wrapping up in short order.
Oh, that is a true statement if I ever heard one.
We still haven't seen a crate yet either.
Dante tells me that he's in Ann Arbor, Michigan now. I won't tell you what the student section in Madison say about Ann Arbor.
Oh, positive things, I think. See some discussion over the damage, but then Luke getting not killed.
I think
need to put those.
I think it might be a new Luke. We'll see.
Now, that's the same Luke. That's the same Luke.
Now the Michigan community is claiming Dante.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kyle. Like the fact of the matter is, if you blast and then you get answered with crate, it's pretty close to GG as well.
You know what? And the barrage off Snoke, shows that Steven knows the deck. That's actually probably a lot better than blast overall.
Could be.
Leaves Han alive, goes to 28.
Really want to have an answer that's not Snoke into this warrior, so you can still clear the board for everything.
Yeah, but
else.
you got to answer the warrior right now. He's got.
And crate comes down, gets answered with Snoke. Kira goes to 28 damage on base.
It's now 32, right?
I'm not sure if it's 28 or 32, but we are ending the phase with lethal being presented by Alex here. I don't know outside of a blast what he could do to stop both. Obviously, there's Timely, there's Timely Vader. There's some situations that you could make work here.
Yeah, or set one Vader finding a Sentinel. I think we've seen phase 3. In fact, I'm looking at a phase 3. I think in the.
A lot of Kira's running the Death Trooper as well.
So this is the key action. We have Palpatine's return. Somehow Snoke returned, I think is what happened.
Yep. And Snoke comes down. Does not debuff Han like we mentioned.
3 to base.
So Alex takes 3 to base. Really close to lethal here. Is there another crate in hand? Power to Dark Side comes down.
Yeah, Warrior swatting
there
the Dark
is.
Trooper.
And there it
There's
is.
the crate. And this is a full health crate.
Yep.
So, and Snoke is in barrage.
Has 8 HP.
So he's got a claim.
I don't know if there's anything in Kira's deck that could do this for two resources.
That's a good point. I don't know what to say, but they haven't. They're continuing to wrap it up. We have a crate on Alex's board. Looking across from the soak. Now the crate's only an 8/8, so I mean barrage kills the crate, but the crate trigger.
Yeah,
is the problem.
So I don't think there's anything.
I think the players probably know that, but this is a win and in at a sector qualifier.
Oh, you take as much time as you possibly could take, right?
Force lightning.
Oh.
Yeah, force lightning it could be.
Oh yeah, if you're running it off aspect and Kira.
Chooses
But
death.
it's Devastator.
Chooses death by
Handshake
Devastator.
around, death on his own terms, and Alex goes to day 2 of sectors on his terms. Great run from Alex these past 2 weeks. We saw him last week on the channel. If you missed it, he had some incredible games and also some great games today as well. Obviously, punching his ticket to the next step of sectors. And I know, Lupe, you must be ecstatic for your teammate.
Yep. Nope. Shout out to Alex. I'm pretty sure that Carlos advanced as well. Let's actually look at some standings, and then we'll wrap you up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. I've had a long day. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Though this is the first round I actually called. And shout out to the commentators, as I pull this up. I mean, really, from beginning to end, I mean, a lot of professionalism, in some difficult circumstances, and, really a lot of knowledge that I was excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think combined we had like maybe 8 PQ wins on today, stuff like that. So great group of guys. And what I also like is that we had representation from basically every team, right?
Right.
So you have a lot of unique perspectives on different players here. And long day. Thanks for sticking with us all day long through some of the internet issues. But hey, I thought overall, really, really great stream.
Yep. Nope. Yep. Very, very good. And we'll be back tomorrow. I mean, historically, the people at the event, at the venue, will go down from this point now, and then by the time it's in Top Cut, the venue is actually pretty open. So let's look at what happened at the top tables, and then we're going to let our coverage wrap for the day. So at table 1, Dylan Sumner, who is piloting Han Force Blue, was able to deal the first loss to Garsax and ECL. Carlos Apodaca loses to the Han 2 Data Vault. Christopher Patrick.
And that puts him at 5-2, so he's safe.
I think he's actually maybe 6-0-1.
Oh, is he?
I think he got a draw at some point.
Okay.
Connor O'Sullivan, about as Irish as you can get, playing Han Pilot, Tarkentown. Han never told me the odds is Han Pilot, is able to beat Levi Ponce 2-0. Josh Vett wins 2-0 versus Ian Klein, but Ian Klein we'll see on day 2.
Yep.
We have Trevor Seidel, who is the Yoda Jedi Temple pilot, deals a loss to Mother Talzin, and they thought that deck was dead, but we'll see Nathaniel day 2. We had a Only Hans table 6, and an Only Alex's table 6.
Yeah, and we always see Justin from KTOD and Curtis, who we had on stream here, face off. Justin gets the win. I think they're both into day 2 with that, because I think that's just Curtis's second loss.
Right.
And then we see an Admiral Thrawn take the 2-0 win here. And does that put the Admiral Thrawn? We haven't seen that many at the top of the tables here.
Yeah, no, that'll be in from table 9, absolutely.
Yep.
Probably both players in these matches, but they're playing for tomorrow. And as you see, the players are not drawing. Excellent match on table 11. That would have been McClunky Dark Tyler versus Bobby Sapphire from KTOD.
Yep.
Mike takes it. Bobby Sapphire takes it 2-0. Anakin Blue takes care of a Boba Data Vault, the first Boba Data Vault we'd see there. Blaine Miller piloting Han Force Blue wins against Story Arnie, who's Rebel Trader. But I think that we'll see actually whether our team makes it. I think he's got 5-1-2 is his record, so that draw might have been unfortunate. Brian Brammer wins against Mark Horn, who also took a draw. So we'll see all of these players there. We'll have updated standings as we go. So as a whole, what did you think of today's event?
I think what my main takeaway from the event will be is that we saw the level of grindiness increase week over week, right? Obviously, some of the fear with Force Throw being banned is that these Data Vault decks will really start to take hold of the meta. I think we did see signs of that. It is a pretty mixed field, but Han is alive and well in every form and fashion. We're going to see a lot of that tomorrow.
Even the pilot Han.
Data Vault.
Even the pilot Han.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm seeing, like we were talked about, Jeff was calling Curtis's game versus, I forget who it even on two. I forget the pilot, but Curtis is a really unique pilot where he's running a Han deck without kind of like the classic Han yellow cards. You know, you see a really, really heavy space tech. And I love seeing that at the top table. So you see how it's viable. Even with that Yoda green, that's not a style that you've seen, especially in the past like 4 to 6 months, going back to sectors in Denver with Django, right? Like the only blue-green you saw at that point for heroism was likely Luke based on the showcase incentive, right? But you see a really, really mixed field, and these decks that people kind of said were left for dead, whether it's, oh, there's going to be too much Ray Data Vault, myself included, to hold Boba down. We see a lot towards this make that win and in situation and higher. And then also we see a lot of these other decks really last, whether it's Kylo, Tarkin Town, or Han 2 Blue, really doing well. I think we saw a 3 for 3 on Kylo Tarkin Towns go from representation today too.
Yep, and I'm hearing that Crispy is in today too. I wonder if that's the Dylan. All right. Oh yeah. No, actually, I bet Crispy is actually the Han 2 Data Vault.
I think his name's Chris.
Yeah. So I think that's actually the Han 2 Data Vault pilot that we were just talking about there, that Carlos mentioned. That's actually Crispy from Boston Network. All right, well, we're going to wrap our coverage here. We'll be back tomorrow. The start time is an hour earlier, so it's 9 Pacific, noon Eastern, 11 Central. And what's that in Mountain, Jordan?
One more than Central, so that'd be noon Mountain for the people who are in Denver.
I think it's 10. I think it's 10 Mountain. But
it's a long day, Luke.
It is a long day. It's fun for us. We're going to go. We're going to everybody offer a sacrifice to the gods of internet, and we will be back tomorrow with more coverage from the Portland sector. Thanks for joining us. We'll be live tomorrow on Unlimited Power channel, Take the Initiative, and Late Night Gaming. If you watch this far, you're my hero.